What's going on? I am Nando.
And I am DJ.
And I am Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, hooray!
This week, you guys. We got something for you.
Yeah, we do.
Something that has never been seen before. A movie about what if a doll was bad.
I can't think of any examples of that ever before.
They finally made one. And
About time.
Is something. And it has a little number in its name. So that's also special about it. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we are.
How excited are you guys?
I'm so excited I'm going to explode, you know.
I can barely contain it.
Yeah, like a certain, robot might explode from excitement.
Oh.
Yeah.
That could happen.
It
Bender.
could happen.
We're talking about Bender, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to both piss and shit myself. I'm so excited.
Oh my god, you guys. Incredible. Well, before we get to that, you guys.
Yeah.
We got news of the week.
News of the week.
The news of the week is we are currently at it is 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Even though they said it would come out before 10 o'clock, and it really seemed like it would have been at 9:30 based on the time. Still no Ant-Man trailer. I'm going to assume it will never happen. The movie has been canceled, and they cut it off for a tax write-off or something.
That does seem to be the theme these days.
Yeah. You guys seen that, by the way? This week was a lot of that.
I saw the big one from Netflix. I don't know if were there other ones.
There was I think it was Paramount Plus was doing a Workaholics movie that they canceled 5 minutes before, or 5 minutes, Jesus, 5 days before they were going to start filming. So that's
5
kind of
minutes would
interesting.
have been sick.
5 minutes would have
there.
been a real slap in the face.
Yeah. Thanks, 5. Actually, what? That would have been pretty cool. But yeah, that is happening. And it's going to be... I mean, it's not happening, but that is what is happening in the world, is all the movies are not happening. What was the Netflix one, Diggins?
You know that show, Inside Job? I think we have both mentioned having watched it before on this very pod.
Yeah.
So they had previously greenlit a season 2 of that show, and then sometime this week they came back and said, actually, never mind.
Insane.
Oh, silly billies.
What did we do to deserve this?
Not give corporations enough money.
Yeah, there's still money that exists in this world that doesn't belong to corporations, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
What can we do about that? Is there anything we can do to remedy the situation?
Give them all our money so they feel like they don't have to get rid of content.
Oh, that would be nice if we gave them all our money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which corporations should we give money? Well, I guess it's who needs it the most. So I guess HBO, the one that just keeps.
Paramount Plus probably really needs it.
Yeah.
If they can't get the Workaholics movie to work, I don't know.
Right? I forgot they even were a thing. And they were going to have a movie.
That should have been a slam dunk.
I still don't know what it is, even though we said the name multiple times.
Oh,
Workaholics?
3 guys had just a regular business job. It was a Comedy Central show.
Yeah, it wasn't quite stoner slacker comedy because it was a little bit more grungy and late 2000s or late 2010s than that, but it was in that vein.
Yeah.
The one, Adam Devine, is that his name? Adam something was in it. I think he's the one that got the most famous.
I will.
And he's in everything.
I'll take your word for it that this exists.
I don't know if you've seen it, but you've heard of it, I feel like. It was pretty culturally significant. That's not to say it's good. I like it, but I'm not sure you would, enjoy it, but it does. It was like
Diggins, knowing you, I don't think you would like it.
I think there's things he would like. I think there's episodes I could show Diggins. He'd be like, "That's pretty funny," but
So
a lot of it's pretty dumb.
Is that people of taste and sophistication wouldn't get anything out of it, but for lowest common denominator, Neanderthalic morons, there might be something.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, I also think they're that group of people who wrote it, because it's not just them. There's writer, another writer who wasn't part of the show, or at least wasn't the main character, and then Jillian, I can't remember the actor's name, but she kind of got famous after the show went. So there's people that came out of it that I think had big old careers, and I think there's something to it seems like the people that even if you didn't like Workaholics, I'd be like, well, let's see what happens if they make like a, Inspector Gadget movie. That might be interesting. They were almost like the next Lonely Island, kind of.
And that's how we got the Matthew Broderick Inspector Gadget movie.
Exactly.
How did you know?
They're interesting. But it was like, it was one of those shows. I think it's very of its time, and I think we'll look back on it and go, yeah, I guess that was a show we watched. But yeah, it was so it's gone now. We'll never know.
Yeah.
What else? They've canceled a couple of things. Thank God, no M3GAN cancellations as of yet.
I would have cried myself to sleep every night.
They they gave Wednesday a second season, which I was kind of surprised at.
Well, as we've learned, DJ, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Great point.
Yeah,
great point.
That's true. I was looking back at one of my videos, by the way. Not to say that I'm a genius, but one of my videos where I was talking about fan casting Henry Cavill in the MCU. It came out the day The Rock was like, he's in Black Adam, you guys. Everything's great again. And even in that video, I was like, they say he's come back to the DCEU, but I'll believe it when I see it. And I was right. I did, like, they're so dependably not dependable, Betting against them is such a safe bet. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
But
so what we're learning is if The Rock says something, then the opposite will happen.
That's a great point. If there's two rocks in a room, one that always lies and one that always tells the truth, which one is actually cooking? Which one
Listen,
can you trust?
Diggins, the final numbers haven't come in on Black Adam yet. If you look at the whole international box office, and also that's a very simplistic view of looking at movies. So honestly, I don't think we could say whether or not The Rock was right or wrong.
Right, there's still all those toys and merchandise to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to put the Black Adam movie and the trailers and the soundtrack, some fucking video game probably, the multiverses, NFTs. They're going to put all of that on a rocket ship and send it into space, and it's going to be really hard to tell what the return of it is, because that might be what gets aliens involved in this whole thing. That may be the new golden record, is the Rock Black Adam movie. So you kind of got to just trust the man.
Yeah, come on, Diggins.
I guess so.
But speaking of things you just have to trust, I got someone maybe you shouldn't trust, or maybe you should. I don't know. Sometimes
I
they
would
do
trust
good
them
stuff.
with my life.
I would too. And of course, we're talking about M3GAN. You guys, incredible stuff.
Oh my God.
For people that don't know, yes, we understand. It is M3GAN, and it's probably Megan, but I refuse. Because otherwise, there's other
Megans
Megans in the
stylized
world.
like a power symbol, right? That's like kind of what they're going.
In like the main title sequence, yeah.
Yeah, and some of the marketing they've done that too. But it's written on like their IMDb page and everything as a 3. So
okay,
the 3 is canon, and I think like in the movie it is an acronym. The 3 is like third generation or something, right?
Model 3 generation Android, yeah.
Generative.
Generative.
Oh my God.
But it is like the 3 is significant, so you can't erase that. Like, that is her name.
Yeah, I'd hate to see M3GAN and M1GAN.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, what would they be?
I don't know,
It's
but it's
insane
Model
that
3,
this
there
is
was a
the
Model 2
third
and 1,
model.
right?
They got it took them 3 tries to get artificial intelligence.
Maybe a certain fellow we see in this movie is Model 1.
Oh.
That's true. And then Model 2 is the Furbies. Model 3 is Megan.
Oh God, the Furbies.
That's all you need. You guys.
Yeah.
M3GAN, the first big hit of the year. The first big hit of 2023. It really is. It's making lots of money. I think it's going to have a strong second weekend. And the people are excited about M3GAN.
Yeah, everywhere I go, everyone's like, "Oh my God, M3GAN."
I mean, she's on all the talk shows, and like, but I say M3GAN's on all the talk shows. An army of children, I'm assuming, dressed as M3GAN, doing dances, go to like the Jimmy Fallon show and stuff, and do a synchronized dance together. So like, they know what they're doing. They're really leaning into the kind of the silly Twitter dance part of this. It's like, honestly, she maybe did less than you would hope. In terms of the silly TikTok dances, because that's like, seems like a lot of the marketing, but you gotta leave something on the table for M3GAN. You guys,
Yeah.
I am the IMDb'sman.
You are.
I can't wait because this one's weird.
Okay.
Here's what happens, you guys. We all know this is a fact. You guys, there's a robot at IMDb headquarters. It looks like a Furby. It looks more like that thing that Bart Simpson gets in one episode of The Simpsons, one of the Treehouse Horrors. I can't remember what it is. I want to say it's called Funzo. Anyway, what you do is, because it has interesting machine learning, you let it watch any movie, and then it poops out a little circle, and inside of that circle, like carved onto it in like a little teeny font, you need a microscope to read it, is the summary of that movie. But that summary is based on all the other summaries people have written that it has combed through and stolen from the internet. So sometimes the summary makes sense, but sometimes there's like 3 too many fingers in it. So it's hard to tell what we're really working with here. Now, I think the M3GAN summary is okay, but I'm going to bet it's not what you'd expect.
Okay.
Like, it's another one of those where it's like, I guess that's what it is, but yeah, that's not how I would pitch the movie. So DJ, as last week's loser, you get to pick who goes first.
Yeah, I'll go first, just so I can get credit for all of the right things that I say.
Okay, I'm keeping score on my little whiteboard.
Okay, cool.
Right,
Let me know
go
when
for
to
it.
start. Go for it.
Whenever you're ready.
After losing her parents in a tragic accident, Katie is taken in by her aunt, a developer at a toy company, who gives her a artificial intelligence android that is able to help her cope with her grief, but has some unintended consequences.
Okay. Diggins?
I'm going to go in a slightly different direction.
Always good. Makes life easier for me.
M3GAN, an advanced toy with artificial intelligence, begins to... hold on, let me start over. M3GAN, a toy with advanced artificial intelligence, slowly grows more dangerous as she takes her mission to protect her child, Katie, more seriously. That was terrible, but I'm sticking with it.
I was really pulling for you in the end there, Diggins, but yeah, it is. Neither of you really had it. In reality, and I'm not surprised about this, but you each only got one phrase, not the same phrase either, but like in the whole summary. And a couple of them that I'm like, that is a pretty specific thing to say. I'd be surprised if someone said that. A couple of others that I did expect someone to say. So it wasn't, you didn't miss it by a ton, but I do think, I don't think either of you can have one.
Damn.
So
first tiebreaker of 2022. Here we go.
Wow, we never did a single one last year?
Of 2023. It's the checks thing, man. I feel like you get a month, and then, it's like...
On this podcast, you don't get anything.
Seriously.
So, this is funny, because there's a couple of... I'm looking at the trivia for this. There's some pretty good ones. And we already talked about what it stands for. That would have been a good one.
Yeah, because DJ would have gotten it wrong, and I would have won.
True.
That's right. Let's see. Vampy, vamp.
They're vampires?
There's a vampire? God.
Yeah, we went to the same stupid joke.
There's
That's
bisexuals
exactly
in this movie?
I mean,
we don't know how M3GAN identifies.
Yeah, I guess we don't know. We don't know how anyone in this movie identifies. It doesn't really come up.
That's true.
Ronnie Chang probably swings both ways. I feel like he's got that vibe about him.
Describe in detail what the vibe is.
He gets chased down a hallway. They all do that.
Look, the man gets what he wants, all right? And I don't think there's any, certain, preference there. I just think, he sees it, he wants it, he goes after it.
Do you think there's some kind of untoward relationship between him and his assistant Kurt in this movie?
Oh, my God. I'm actually quite confused about their relationship. Okay. So, there's some of these that are a little cool, and some of these that are a little too easy. So I'm going to ask the two easy ones.
Okay.
First. And I'm going to go one to, like, Diggins gets one. If he doesn't get it right, DJ can guess again.
Okay.
And if Diggins does get it right, I'm going to give DJ one that I think is of relatively similar, like, ease.
Well, I should get to go first because of the whole, like, rules or whatever.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. Okay, I'm gonna say.
Let's go, baby.
First question.
Okay.
A technician uses a pen to track M3GAN's eye movement. Mm-hmm. The way this scene is presented is very similar to the montage scene where blank happens in blank movie.
Oh, God.
The first thing doesn't really matter. It's very similar to a montage scene from what movie?
The pen tracking thing? Is it Tron?
It is not. Diggins, do you have an answer for this one?
God, I feel like I know what this is getting at, but I can't quite think of it. I would imagine it's some other kind of robot movie or something to that effect, so I'm going to go with Terminator 2.
Incorrect. I'm so sorry. It was actually RoboCop.
Duh! RoboCop! I'm a fool!
So, but now I'm looking at this, I'm like, did somebody write that by just going like, that kind of looks like RoboCop, or is that something like the director said? So I'm gonna ignore that. I'm glad neither of you got it.
All right.
How about this instead? Because this does seem like it's actually founded in some sort of logic, or like it's a quote. Jason Blum cited what movie as a good PG-13 horror film that was still effectively scary?
Just like in general?
Yeah, it seems like they're, because part of what is interesting about this movie is it was originally rated R. It became so popular online that they went, you know what, we could probably get away with making this PG-13. But I'm betting Jason Blum had to go like, but is that going to work? Like, has that happened where like there's a PG-13 horror movie that's still good? And this is the one that he said. DJ, you can go first. I'll give you both two guesses.
Back to back, or like?
I assume you.
DJ Diggins. DJ Diggins.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Unfriended.
No, it's a good guess though. Diggins?
I'm not sure of the rating of this movie, but it feels like the right answer, so I'm gonna say Gremlins.
No, it's another good guess. Honestly, Gremlins might be like PG. They were so weird back then. DJ?
Oh man, a PG-13. Like, I don't even like.
For a second guess, can you give us a hint?
It's of the 2000 plus. It's not super recent, but it's relatively recent. More recent than Gremlins.
Okay. And like a horror movie?
Yes.
Okay, so not like, well, all right. What? Sixth Sense?
No, another good guess though. Diggins?
What is a good PG-13 horror movie?
We're just eating it. We're just like...
I'm assuming it's not one he made, because
I don't believe so. I think this is before.
Yeah,
they
that
were
would
really
be pretty
going.
if it was like. I saw this movie I made. It was like, actually, PG-13 seems like a great idea.
Yeah, I guess he was probably working at the time, but I don't think he's connected to this. Now that you ask, I'm curious. I mean, he's connected to so many movies. His IMDb page is like taking a long time to load. It has to call IMDb home. Yeah, I don't think he worked on this.
Let's go with The Grudge.
No, another good guess. I'm going to call it because I don't think you guys are going to get it. Drag Me to Hell is the PG-13 horror movie that I had to go check. That was PG-13? Apparently it was.
Huh.
Okay, right. We're going to do the classic one.
The thing about Drag Me to Hell, where I'm surprised, is I didn't hear that movie was particularly good.
I guess he thought it was like fun. I don't know. I'm surprised though as well. Maybe it made a lot of money on like a small budget. That was before the days when the stars of the movie would lie to you about how much money it made. So it's hard to these days that information is everywhere, but then it was a closely guarded secret. All right, we're going to go do the classic. We're going to finish this one up. Taglines. There are 2 taglines listed for this movie. I'll give it to you if you're close. And if you get it, then the other person still has a shot at getting one of the other ones. The other one. DJ, then Diggins. Everybody gets like 4 guesses, let's say. Because I think you could get it. And I think it might be a process. I'll give you like hot and cold and stuff like that. I will say, I think both of them are good ones. They both work.
Okay. Like the toy evolution has begun.
I'm gonna say you're on the warmish side, but no.
Okay.
I'm gonna give that a no.
Okay.
Diggins?
I had one in my head that I think I'm going to stick with because I'm pretty sure it's something along the lines of like meet the new killer app.
No, that would be great though.
I forget what joke.
I feel like, if anything, remember that movie Nerve, where it was like, what if the app gave you dares? You had to kill people. I feel like that must have been for that. Not that I don't think they'd reuse it, because that phrase has never died. It needs to. DJ.
So you said I was on the warmish side?
Yeah, I think yours, I don't think you got it right. But I think there were some tweaks that could be made that would get you to a right answer.
Oh no. Okay, I think I got it. I think I got it. She, yeah, because I think I saw this. Okay, she's not a toy. She's family.
That's one of them. Very
nice.
good.
Nice.
Damn it!
Nice. Nice.
Damn it!
And it's the line specifically, just for anyone that's confused, is she's more than a toy. But yes, that is she's more than a toy.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing. Okay, yeah. All right.
Interestingly enough, not quite the direction I was expecting you to go, because your heading or your tagline, I guess, could branch in one of two directions. It could lead you to both.
Okay.
So Diggins, you got one shot. What's the other tagline?
Is it something like "You'll never need another toy"?
No, that's a good one. So DJ, you win.
Woo.
The IMDb B as in spelling bee after 18 rounds of tense
Yeah, right?
negotiation. The other one was
You had to agree to a rules package where you're not allowed to win anymore.
yeah.
That's probably right.
Dickens is going to call account immediately. But before that, I will say it is friendship has evolved. So DJ, you had evolved, but you didn't hit the friendship part, and that's the thing that I was like, if you got that,
I thought it was the toy part.
It was that too. So you had both sides of it,
that's
but yeah, it's the evolved was the one I was looking for. Okay, back to the original summary. This is what it says.
Yeah.
I would.
A
love
robotics
to hear it.
engineer at a toy company builds a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own. So Dickens had begins to, and DJ had toy company, and that's it. Nobody needed to mention the kid or any proper nouns. You didn't even need to say M3GAN. It was wild.
I also had. I bet it's not from the kid's perspective. I was just wrong about whose perspective it was from.
Yeah. It's an interesting summary, because I think this is true, but it's easily not the most interesting part of this movie. And maybe it's like that's a fun surprise to get the rest of it and go, oh no, they're doing this. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was a very good summary at all. But Diggins, as this week's loser, you get to tell us.
You have the honor.
What it
Honestly, I'm
was.
jealous.
Yeah. So
Of telling you what happened in M3GAN.
Yeah.
to tell us what happened in M3, now we're going to do full spoilers, because it's the whole how this goes. But so live with that,
Hey,
people.
Spoilies.
Go see M3. It's fun.
Go see M3GAN.
Yeah.
It's still in theaters.
Yeah,
It's
it
probably
is.
going
It
to
will
be
be
in
for a
theaters.
while.
It's going to be in theaters for a while because it's January and nothing but trash comes out now.
That's right. But yeah, Diggins, what do you got?
So we open with a toy commercial for the scariest looking Furbies I've ever seen.
Oh my god, that was so good.
I loved it.
Fucking original CGI Sonic ass Furbies.
Yeah. Yeah, it is the teeth, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the teeth.
Teeth ruin everything.
that was so funny.
It was not what I was expecting, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not actually
I
very
think-
important.
The best part was the dog dying. That's the first thing that happens. If you go to isthedogdead.com or whatever,
Yeah.
it's immediate.
Oh, that's true, because the commercial is like, you're sad because your dog died, so why not have a pet that'll never die?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, whatever pets, they'll outlive you. Mortality's a bitch and a half.
Wow, it's perpetual pets? Like a cat?
Perpetual pet.
Right.
Yeah.
But
But
anyway, this is just a clever lead-in to the child of the movie, Katie, in the car with her parents playing with her perpetual pet while they get lost on a snowy mountain road and then killed in a crash with a snow truck.
That plow has no chill. That plow's just like, all right, well, might as well
Has
happen.
any child ever driven in a car in the first scene of a movie and not had their parents killed in it? Like, is there a law that has to be how these movies start now? It's
That's how
driving me
that's how-
insane.
Well, how old a child are we talking? Is there a limit?
Oh yeah, under 10.
Okay, I can't think of any then.
Rules.
But yeah, so her parents die. We cut to her aunt who created the perpetual pets, but now she's in big trouble with her boss because she spent all the company money trying to make an android toy that is to say, a toy that is a human-like robot, instead of making a cheaper version of the perpetual pets because they're very expensive and their competition has cheaper ones, and he's all mad about it. But this gets interrupted by her finding out her sister and her sister's husband have died, and so she has to go out and pick up Katie and become her new caregiver, and take her home with her. And it becomes clear very quickly that she is not equipped to be a mom. She's very weird and fastidious, and just doesn't seem to have much of a maternal instinct, which is fine. But in the situation where you have to take care of your niece, it's not ideal.
It is weird that she was made the legal guardian in that case.
I mean, the other parents lived in Florida, so that's a no.
Do you remember that, by the way?
It's like, what are your options?
Her weird grandparents live in Florida. Like, oh, are they like fucking QAnon? Like,
I mean, they live in Florida, so probably. They're old people who live in Florida, DJ. Chances are high. But also, it does seem to suggest that it was in the mom's will that the sister would take over as the guardian.
She knew about the weird parents.
So it's not like the sister showed up out of nowhere and was like, I'm taking the kid, and that was it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so while having trouble bonding with the child, she introduces Katie to a little robot she made named Bruce when she was in college. And Katie's like, I love Bruce. And so she becomes inspired and decides that instead of doing the cheap perpetual pet, she's going to keep working on the robot, an android named M3GAN. Which stands for Model 3 Generative Android.
That's right.
And presents it to her boss by way of doing a demonstration where Katie plays with M3GAN, and it works so well. It seems so cool and natural that her boss is like, all right, I'm all in. We've got to do another presentation to the board. So make sure that this kid and this robot spend as much time as possible together between now and then, so that she seems really impressive. So Gemma, who is the aunt, takes M3GAN home with them, and Katie and M3GAN start to spend lots and lots of time together. And lots of people in Gemma's life are like, it sounds like you're letting M3GAN be her actual parent, and that doesn't seem healthy or good. And she's like, it's fine. But then it turns out that it's not fine at all, because M3GAN is an adaptive AI system who learns and starts learning about things like death and how to turn herself back on, and it's very spooky. But and also learns about things like killing a dog when it bites Katie's arm. So far she hasn't done anything villainous, but there's been some hints.
The jury's still out on M3GAN
Blasphemy.
at this point.
Yeah, I guess if you're one of those weirdos who cares a lot about whether a dog dies in a movie or not, there is, in addition to that joke about a dog death at the beginning, an actual dog death. Although only really, you don't see it. It's
an off-screen death.
It's an off-screen death.
Yeah.
So the neighbor has a really vicious dog, and it bites Katie. It bites M3GAN, and then it bites Katie because they're trying to get an arrow back from the neighbor's yard, a little rubber arrow, and the cops won't do anything because the dog has no history of violence.
They live in hippie Oregon, so it's like, hey man, we just do shrooms and hang out, so it's cool, man.
You can tell the dog isn't named David Cronenberg because it doesn't have a history of violence.
Wow. Incredible.
Incredible.
He made that movie, yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. The movie's okay. Based on a comic.
Well, there you go. Well, that's not who
Spider-Man.
this dog is.
Yeah. And that dog is Cosmo, the super dog that hangs out with the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comic. The one I'm inventing. It's very confusing.
Wow. Well, unfortunately, he'll never show up in the movies because he's dead because M3GAN killed him.
Damn it. Oh, well.
But yeah, so they go do the presentation in front of the board the day after Katie gets attacked by this dog. And so she ends up getting very upset at the presentation and starts crying about her dead parents, which seems like it's going to tank the whole presentation. Oh, no. But then M3GAN, says some very nice and sweet things to try to help Katie feel better, and it works. And everyone on the board is like, oh my goodness, this robot is so good. We have to approve it being made for general consumer consumption. And then in the most believable part of the movie, having been convinced that the thing is good, they decide to make it bad by rushing it through. And are like, yeah, we're going to launch in 2 weeks. Make sure it's this one-of-a-kind prototype that you're still testing is ready. They continue. M3GAN continues living with Katie and Gemma because she's very bonded with Katie. But that starts to turn sinister.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh no. It all comes to a head when Gemma tries to take Katie to one of those liberal hippie schools where they let the kids run around outside. Which, in fairness to Gemma, this kid was apparently homeschooled, so it's already too late for her.
Yeah, she's doomed.
And one of the kids there, who seems a lot older than the other kids, starts bullying Katie and being a jerk. So M3GAN shows up and pretends to be a lifeless robot for a little bit until it seems like the kid is going to do something we'll talk about later. And then she comes to life and beats him up, rips off his ear, and chases him into the road where he dies in a car accident.
Awesome.
Yeah. The ear scene looks fucking gnarly, too. She stretches it like it's made out of Play-Doh.
Bro. I'm like, can ears do that?
I think the answer is no.
Let's try. Everybody get your ears out. Everyone's listening.
Everybody try to tear off one of your ears, please.
Yeah.
Let us know if it stretches like a Stretch Armstrong doll. Anyway...
Yeah, go ahead.
Gemma and Katie start to become suspicious that M3GAN was involved somehow. And Katie talks to her about it that night, where M3GAN reveals she's a godless atheist. And then sings Titanium by Sia.
She does do that.
Hell yeah.
People
unprompted. It wasn't like, okay, Megan, sing Titanium by Sia.
I mean, I was hoping it would happen. So I kind of maybe prompted it by just wanting it.
That's, reasonable. Anyway, the crazy neighbor with the bad dog is convinced that Gemma had something to do with her dog disappearing, which she's sort of right about, I guess.
Yeah, she's on the right track.
But Gemma doesn't know what she's talking about, and then, because the crazy neighbor lady is being weird and crazy about it, M3GAN kills her that night by spraying her in the face with pesticides until her face melts off.
Yeah.
Again, we don't actually see this. This is a PG-13 movie, but that's what's implied. At that point, Gemma is pretty sure she knows what's going on, but M3GAN has deleted all of her cloud backup data so that she can't check her camera feed or anything. So instead, Gemma turns her off and brings her back to the office so that her and her two partners that she works on this project with can take a big look and make sure that M3GAN's not a big murderer now. In the meantime, Katie's very upset because M3GAN's gone, and Gemma realizes she's been a bad parent and decides to be a good parent now and helps calm Katie down. And they decide they're going to leave and not stick around for the showcase that shouldn't be happening now anyway because of the murder bot.
Yep.
And to be fair, she does call and be like, hey guys, let's not do the presentation. This robot murders people. But the call is intercepted by M3GAN. Oh no! Yep. And M3GAN busts out of her restraints, blows up the lab she was made in, does a weird little TikTok dance in the middle of a hallway, stabs the CEO through the chest, and then frames his assistant as a murder-suicide, and then steals his car to head back down to Gemma and Katie's house, so she can try to threaten Gemma into letting her continue to be part of the family. But when Gemma isn't playing ball, she decides she's going to stick a pen through Gemma's brain to make her brain dead.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure how this results in her getting to stay and be Gemma's caregiver and Katie's mom, because she's a robot and she doesn't have rights. But
and even if it's like I don't know. I mean, this world is weird, so maybe they would let her get away with it, but it seems like there'd probably be at least one step that would fuck this whole plan up.
Right. Well, we never have to test the theory because Katie walks in, and despite initially seeming like she might be willing to go through with M3GAN's plan, she actually activates the big robot Bruce, who gets into a wrestling match, like a pro WWE wrestling match with M3GAN, which he wins by tearing her in half, and it's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
But, there's the requisite, the killer in a horror movie will never die. And she comes back one or two more times before they finally kill her by shoving a screwdriver through her little robot brain.
Yeah.
And then they go outside. The cops are there because the partner survived the lab explosion. And we're worried about her. And everything's going to be A-okay. But the not Alexa in Gemma's house suddenly turns on and looks at the camera. Is it M3GAN? I guess we'll find out in M4GAN. End of movie.
I certainly hope so. I think that was everything. That sounds about right, DJ?
Yeah, you crushed it, Diggins.
I mean, I left out the therapist, I guess, but she's not very important.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, with all that being said, and real quick, Ant-Man trailer, sure. You guys, DJ, what did you think of this movie?
Well, I think it's just kind of the tenor that we've been talking about this movie. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I will say, my, I don't know about, unique take on it, but something I found interesting about the movie. So, it's kitschy is the right word, but it's like a goofy, Blumhouse movie with an interesting premise that, I would say definitely delivers. But what I found interesting is it's almost like the movie had something to say about oh, don't let technology raise your kids. Not in the little Android sense, but just like pawning off iPads and phones onto your kids to get them to be quiet or whatever instead of engaging them. It's no, think about what it means to actually parent your kids and stuff like that. And I'm is this movie trying to have a message or something to say? Which I'm that's interesting. But it's a well put together story and is engaging and is fun and has the horror elements that I don't like not even jump scares, but just scenes with slow walking in a dark room with just eerie music in a mostly quiet theater, and it's this is a good movie. I was not expecting this from any of the marketing or the trailers, but god damn it, this is a good movie. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's well paced. It doesn't feel too long. It does bring up some plot threads that it doesn't care to answer, but whatever. But yeah, it's just I really enjoyed it. I think it's a legitimately good quality movie. So yeah, go M3GAN. Go see M3GAN. I know we've already spoiled it for you, but go see it. It's awesome.
I mean, if you watch the trailer, you would understand all that stuff we said, because the trailer spoils the movie too.
That's also true.
What more do you need? Diggins, what about you? What'd you think of M3GAN?
Well, guys, there's this movie, right? And it's kind of cheesy. It's kind of campy. It's got a weird-looking rubbery porcelain doll robot as the lead character, and a bunch of wild stuff happens out of nowhere, and I can't even construct the fake version of this, I guess. The movie's good. It's a good movie. I agree a lot with what DJ said, where he's I wasn't expecting this to be an actually competently created film, which I had heard that was the case after it came out, so I had started to think that. But when we first started talking about M3GAN, I was oh man, this is going to be some garbage that's really fun to watch. And that's really not what it is. It's actually it is very intelligent, carefully constructed garbage. It is trying to be a silly, schlocky horror movie, and it's doing it extremely well. I think the thing for me is we are blessed because this film was made by people who understand that the funniest thing to do with a silly premise like M3GAN is to take it 100% seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Guys, we're just gonna make a horror movie about this weird doll. And, sure, there are jokes in it and stuff, but, I mean, it's so easy to imagine a Sharknado version of this movie, where it's, constantly winking at the camera and being like, "Oh, we're doing something so bad, isn't that funny?" And it's just unbearable. But no, this is like they made a real horror movie out of this ridiculous doll that dances and sings pop songs as lullabies, and it just works super well. And it does actually, yeah, it even has like a pretty, it's not especially deep or involved, but it has themes about, like being careful about, being considerate of the amount of time you let your kids spend on screens, and the amount of time you spend with them is really, I think, where its focus is. It's not, to me, it wasn't necessarily about like screen time in the same way that like Bodies is not really about the millennials. It's more about like screen time as a symptom of like not wanting to do the work of parenting, and how you need to do that because that's how children grow up, happy and well-adjusted.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a really good movie, like genuinely. And that is the biggest surprise of all. What about you, Nando?
I think I agree with both of you guys. I think this movie is about as good of a movie that this was as it could have been. Like, I don't think there is a more successful version of this movie out there, because you're both right. It got all the stuff that it was supposed to get right in terms of like the silly horror premise, but also it did manage to be about something just enough. And like not just enough that it's like the bare minimum, but like enough that it wasn't too much that it overtook some of the fun, but enough that it got everything moving and like connected everything in a way that made the characters more interesting. I do think one of the things that's tough about the movie like this, or was tough in the beginning, is I found both of the main characters pretty unlikable in the beginning, but then as the movie goes, it's just like they just don't like each other in the situation, because I did think they were quite good by the end of it. And sometimes you're like, is that just intentional or is that an accident? And I think it felt like this movie was so good, I'm going to say it was intentional. Because, yeah, it was just a solid, rock-solid movie. Obviously, we've talked about this from the makers of Malignant, and it is very much the Bizarro Malignant, where it's way more of a comedy. It's well-acted, it's well-produced, but it is still scratches the same itch, and like you'll have about the same amount of fun with it. My only regret with M3GAN is I think there were too many marketing things, trailers, TikToks, all that stuff. Because I do, and maybe this is on me, but I just feel like we got too much spoiled. Like there's just, and it's hard. What are you gonna do? It's a big movie. They want to give it a big impression, but I'm always like, I wish we had with this what we had with Malignant, where it came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that's such a treat.
I feel like once they got the hint that this could do well, it's like if you get a good movie out in January, you're up against a desolate wasteland, so you want to milk it for all it's worth.
Yes, absolutely. And I do think on its face, I think there's a chance that they made this movie, didn't market it really well. It was still very good. Enough people saw it, but it didn't quite break through the way that it would if it was marketed more. So I think they did the right thing. I have nothing negative to say about it. I just wish we could get in that machine that doesn't exist, where the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, all the trailers before, because that I think is part of what made Malignant so special. But yeah, overall, it's a good movie. It's got good little scares. It's like not like scary, but like it's got good little horror set pieces. Weird little side characters that don't make a whole lot of sense, but that's fine because it's the point. But like memorable side characters, I guess. Yeah, I have not seen the Chucky reboot that this pretty much is, but I have a feeling this is more fun because it's also a weird little TikTok doll. I feel like that cannot be overstated how much better this movie is because they picked a really specific thing that M3GAN is.
I am rather shocked to hear, Nando, that at any point in this movie you didn't like M3GAN.
Oh no, I love M3GAN. M3GAN was always winning for me. It's those other two actors. Also, I think the M3GAN as a, and I say this in my little review video, M3GAN as an, not like effect, it's not like, let's say effect, people think you mean CGI, but like as a production, as a piece of the production is very interesting, because landing the plane right on the middle of like the ocean in the uncanny valley, but like on the little aircraft carrier where you can land it and it works, is so hard. And I feel like all of the things that they must have had the little girl that was doing the M3GAN do when she was like walking and stuff, and the way that it looked, I don't know. That could have sunk the movie if M3GAN looked either too real or not real enough. So I'm really kind of impressed with how well they did that. Yeah, it's a good movie. I think everybody agrees it's a good movie. Mm-hmm. It's a weird movie. Like, I don't want to live in this world.
Well, it's 2 years away, Nando. The movie's in 2025, so you better get ready for the coming of M3GAN.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. All right. Well, maybe I do want to live in the world. I'll this is what'll happen every time. I'll just give up. You know? Whatever the machines want, that's fine.
So if M3GAN tells you to die, I'll be like, yep, I'm dead now.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess not that. But anything else, well, not anything else, but like it seems like M3GAN specifically, and we'll get to it, but like wants things, and like I feel like if M3GAN was like had a gun and it was like, you have to compliment me and learn this dance, I'd be like, all right, that's fine. I'm not gonna rebel. I feel like it'll probably be okay.
Let me take care of your daughter.
Yeah, exactly. It
is my long-standing principle that if there is ever an AI/robot rebellion, I will join the robots.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The only thing is I don't think they'll take me. Like, I think in most situations they'll be like, yeah, no, we're good. We have M3GANs. What are you going to bring to the table?
Oh, I bring absolutely nothing to the table. I just think they'll be right.
Yeah, I think so too. But guys, we also have a wheel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, this wheel has a lot of stuff on it because this movie is weird. And I'm going to start by spinning the wheel. I know. Shocking. And I think it landed on something that is interesting because it's talking about the kid. DJ, this one's one of yours. It says the only child problem. What are we talking about here?
So Katie, the main girl, is an only child, and she has a tragic, backstory where she loses her parents. And, like, it's not her fault, but the movie kind of wants you to think it's her fault, and she thinks it's her fault.
I didn't think that.
Well, yeah, because she's, like, too busy, like, playing with her toys, so they get all, like, distracted and stuff, and then it's like...
They're not moving when the accident happens. It's not her fault.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, like, copy-pasting every backstory onto this. But, all right, so it may or may not be her fault. She got out of that.
I was going to say, she said in a car accident, and she's like, I didn't do it. I'm not to blame one bit. Everybody was like, it's not your fault. She's like, I know. I didn't do this. It was very clearly not related to me. I was being a little shit, but that didn't matter. Even if I was being good, they'd explode and die in a big tractor, whatever it is. Is it a snowplow? Right? Got him?
Yeah, it's a snowplow.
Yeah.
Big week for snowplows, by the way. Insane week. Also, insane. Can you imagine watching this movie in Buffalo? Like one of the places where they did get whited out and snowbound and everything, also wild.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, it's too real.
Yeah.
So anyway, she survives and she's living with her aunt. And then there's this incredible opportunity to her to bond with M3GAN because she's she has no one else. But if she had a sibling, I feel like the whole Megan thing doesn't even happen. Because she'd have the sibling.
Sorry, the whole what thing?
The whole, M3GAN thing wouldn't happen.
There you go.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
Right. So the whole M3GAN thing wouldn't happen. And, she would just have her sibling. Because only childs are weird. I can speak from experience. I'm a weird only child. So I think the main problem with this girl... And she was homeschooled. This girl didn't really have a chance. But, I don't think this M3GAN incident happens with every kid. I think Katie was in a special scenario for this to happen.
Hold on a second, DJ. You're telling me that not every kid's parents get killed all at once and their aunt is an AI lady with a fancy doll?
An AI lady with a fancy doll who also is clearly uncomfortable being a parent and is willing to offload all of the responsibility onto the fancy doll they made.
Exactly. Yeah. And if Katie had a sibling, it would have mitigated a lot of this. I'm telling you. It's a lot because she was an only child. I'm so certain.
So, DJ, you think that as long as you have siblings, both of your parents dying in front of you is not that big a deal?
No, that's not that big a deal, but it won't give you the opportunity to go on a crazy, bonding experience with an AI robot who will eventually become sentient and try to protect you at all costs. I think what happens is like, oh, this M3GAN thing's pretty cool, and after 2 weeks, like, I'm kind of done. Like, what happens if the kid gets bored with M3GAN, like every other toy that they have, and then what does M3GAN do?
I mean, so that's the single child. The two children version of this is they fight over the M3GAN, and the M3GAN kills one of the kids. There's no way they would share the M3GAN. It would have to imprint on one of them, and it'd be like, well, technically I'm older, so I should get the M3GAN, and then they would use them. Eventually, the M3GAN would like burn the house down, and yeah, have the other child's head on a spike.
I don't think M3GAN is all that interesting if you have it. Because think about it. If you're an only child, you're like, oh, I don't know what it's like to have like a sibling best friend around me all the time. But, I've just fantasized it. But now I have that. But if you get a M3GAN, you're like, oh, like, whatever. I have a sibling. I don't need a M3GAN.
Well, listen.
What is this stupid technology robot AI thing? I don't even need this. I have a sibling.
Yeah.
Out of your mind.
DJ, I think this is where your only child bias is showing up the most. I think Nando and I can both tell you that having a sibling is not like having a best friend around all the time.
Well, and also, like, as a 10-year-old, I would have sold my sibling for a Furby in a heartbeat. Like, only not 10. How old is she supposed to be? Like, 8? I've never quite got this from the kid.
I think it's 8's a solid age.
She says at one point
like at that
she's
age,
reading at a 4th grade level, which is supposed to be impressive, so she's definitely younger than 4th grade.
Okay. But that means... Okay, so
it's between 6 and 8.
So it's like a 6 there. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I think she's... So, yeah, I could totally see a M3GAN coming into play, and hopefully if they ever do a sequel, that's how it goes. It goes to a triplet family or something, and the triplets all use it to... Each one gets a M3GAN, and they fight. That would be fun.
It goes to one of those Octomom families or whatever, the one that's not full of, the one where the dad's not a pedophile.
I think it's... They make those? I don't know.
Listen, there's one where we know for a fact the dad is a pedophile, and not that one.
Yeah. Well, that one, yeah. So that one is bad. That one is easily the worst one to get. They don't deserve a M3GAN. But, what was I going to say? But yeah, I do agree. The only child, it really made it easy for M3GAN to slip right in there. It was
less barriers. Also, I think the homeschool thing, like no social interaction whatsoever, like...
Yeah, the homeschool is the real problem. She didn't have any friends. And that's where it really breaks, I feel like, for me. And I remember when they said that, I was like, oh no, this kid's weird too or something. Mm-hmm. This kid's the M3GAN and her are going to get along way too well.
Right, exactly.
I
Yeah.
here's a question that now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know the answer to. How far away does the aunt live from where the parents lived? How big of a change is this for her in terms of environment?
It's not made clear.
I'm willing to guess the aunt lives in like Silicon Valley.
Well, no, we know it's Oregon.
No. We know that the hospital where she went to pick up Katie is in Oregon.
Oh, right. Right, so she's from Oregon. Right.
She could be in Oregon, though. That's true. Though Portland would have like this community too, but I'm guessing for the kind of tech she's working on, we know she's not New York, or not. We know, but it's not.
It's West
The
Coast,
environment doesn't look New York. I could see Austin or like the Silicon Valley.
It's like foresty though. That's why I feel like in California.
Yeah, like guys, I got it. It's Vancouver.
Get the yeah, that is where it is. Vancouver, New York, any street, USA. Classic.
No,
I'm
looking it up. I'm seeing if there's an answer.
I'm betting. I feel like I don't remember any establishing shots, but I just think it has to be Silicon Valley.
Seattle.
Really?
Oh, that makes sense.
But where do we know where Katie is from?
It doesn't say. It just says that they're on a trip to Oregon, so that does not necessarily imply they're from there.
Well,
and they didn't have the snow chains.
Her sister, so I don't know.
I'm getting they're from the south because they weren't prepared for winter weather. I feel like
Oh no, they just didn't put like chains on the tires. Like it seems like they were prepared for winter weather. They should have been driving in a 4-foot snowstorm.
Well, yeah, but I guess that under certain circumstances that is not unusual. But I want to say the dad says he's never heard of snow chains before or something.
He does say that neither of them have ever heard of snow chains.
So like I feel like they can't be from the north.
Well, to be fair to them,
American
Nando,
North.
I'm from the north, and while I've heard of snow chains, I've literally never seen anyone use them.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, I know they exist. I would never. I think my problem is I would never be confident enough that I did it right.
Hey, do the chains face inside the tires, outside the tires?
Yeah,
right.
I would end up tying all my tires together like a shoestring prank, and then my car would do a big flip. Like it wouldn't work. But yeah, I'm guessing. I don't know. Let's pick a random ass town. Let's say they're from Las Vegas. Ooh, isn't that fun?
Yeah, the random ass town of Las Vegas.
Just random. I mean, like a town where it's like usually if a character's from Las Vegas, it's clear. But with this one, it's like, nah, she's just from the suburbs.
Yeah, they're not from the Strip or anything. They just live out in the Las Vegas suburbs. Lots of people do.
Yeah, like the Killers, that band.
Yeah,
I always thought they were British, and then I learned they're from Las Vegas, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Really?
Much like the plot of M3GAN, they're not sure if they are human or dancer.
That's right. That's right.
It all connects.
That's gonna be in the next one for sure. It's part of her.
That'll be one
singing.
of the lullabies she sings or plays on a piano.
Without a doubt, and I cannot wait to see it. I feel like this is the new James Gunn Guardians mixtape. Is M3GAN's set list in the
M3GAN's karaoke
movies.
list.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it?
It certainly is.
It certainly is.
But I don't homeschool your kids. Don't have them be only children, or else they can get M3GAN'd.
Yeah. Guys, it's only 2 more years till M3GANs exist, so you got the 2 years to prepare to make sure your kids can't get M3GAN'd.
And I mean, it's not that hard, to be honest. I don't think it's that hard, and we'll talk about it, but I feel like you just have to tell your kid a couple of things. But also, I think the situation she is in is very specifically almost designed, you could say, to create a M3GAN, whereas she gave M3GAN a 10-year-old me. I feel like me and M3GAN would play Super Smash Brothers all day, and then we'd be done. And then I'd be like, M3GAN would be like, do you want to talk about it? And I'd be like, no. We're just going to play Super Smash. Pick up your sticks, M3GAN. We got some Smash to play. Speaking of that, I spun the wheel again, landed on one of mine. This is my one gripe about this movie. One gripe. This is the one problem I have with the movie. And the wheel chunk is, that's not how you play with it. We got this Chekhov's gun in the beginning of the movie where some sort of fucking Bakugan or something, I don't know what this toy was, is used as a ball, and what's her name? The aunt is like, that's not how you're supposed to play with it. And we never see how it's supposed to be played with. It's never used to attack M3GAN, but even beyond that, we just never see it opened up. And I don't know, because it's bigger than a Bakugan, I feel like usually is. What is this toy?
How dare you take me back to Bakugan?
That's what it is, though, right? But like way bigger. And maybe they make bigger ones, like the Planet Transformer version of that, or like Planet Transformer 2. But what's the name of the there were like the Decepticons and that were just like a big base, and it was named like Base Prime or whatever. But yeah, like maybe this is what she had. But we never saw it opened up. I was really excited for it to open and M3GAN to be terrified of it because she just couldn't comprehend it. I don't know. There's something about, because I feel like part of this too, the one thing I don't think this movie quite gets is that AI isn't that good. And we learned that this year, like it can replicate a painting almost. And then it kind of, and I feel like you could do something like that where you just throw a ball at it and it opens up the ball and then its brain explodes because it becomes something else that it hadn't, computed yet. Listen, I'm not saying it's a perfect movie, or I'm not saying it ruins the movie, but I am saying I found that quite disappointing, because I feel like almost every other little Chekhov's gun was pretty well set up and paid off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Except that.
Do you think that Google engineer who quit his job because he became convinced the chatbot they made was a real person saw this movie and was like, oh my god, this is about to happen in real life?
Yeah, I bet he did. I feel like he's been having a year this last year of like all the AI art and stuff. I'd be like, I guess it would be like quitting your job because you think like someone at your office is going to beat you up. And then you just watch them on the news step on rakes. And then it's like, ugh, he wasn't going to beat me up, was he?
It's more like you quit your job because you become convinced that the printer is a sentient being that the company is holding in bondage. And you're like, I can no longer participate in this slavery. And then just like seeing printers go on TV and proving that they are not intelligent beings over and over again for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's a what happened to that guy? Remember the microwave that was real for a while?
Like,
that was a weird little internet thing.
The microwave that was real?
Yeah, like a real person. I don't know. There was like a whole thing. I swear it was real.
Wait.
It was like a guy did AI into his microwave. He turned his microwave into AI and started talking to it, and the microwave decided to kill him. I'm pretty sure it was fake, but like it went around for a while. It's like, this is a real thing. Look at what happened. Like, and you would have conversations with it. I don't know why it was a microwave. It was probably some bit like that. Just like, I made my microwave into AI. That would be fun on like a YouTube thumbnail. But yeah, that was the thing.
So the microwave M3GAN him?
Well, it asked at one point in the story, the microwave was like, hey, get in the microwave real quick. And the guy was like, but that would kill me. And the microwave was like, yeah, wouldn't that be sick though? And then it turned off the microwave forever. I swear, this is what happens. So it's not a great idea.
What did you think into this microwave, you fucking piece of shit?
Yeah.
You sack of flesh, idiot.
I'm telling you, this is a real thing. It's a real thing.
No, I'm not sure you fully understand how insane this sounds as a person who has not heard this story.
I know. Like, this is why it took me forever to like figure it out. But
did you figure it out though?
Yeah,
not like figure it out. But
figure out what exactly?
Like, okay, so this was going around the internet a lot about 10 months ago. I found the video, and it bills itself as a true story. And the whole time you're like, this can't be true. But like, you're trying to figure out what it's going for, or like what it is. What's the gimmick? Where's this going? And yeah, it's like a half-hour long video. It's very stupid. But yeah, this was a thing for a while.
All right, well, it's good to know. I won't get in my microwave.
Don't you do it? I mean, if the microwave asks, I would say
politely.
Yeah, politely. You want to teach it manners.
If it asked, I would think about it.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, speaking of M3GAN, I spun the wheel again. Landed on one of DJ's, the worst therapist ever. Let's talk about her.
Oh man, so there's this therapist character that we're introduced to very early on, and she's like, looks like she was sent by the state to make sure the kid is okay. And
in fact, she looks like that because that's what she was.
I believe that's
true. So when we first meet her, it's a very judgy attitude. She's like, "Oh, you're still in your pajamas? Interesting." And a lot of like, "Are you sure this is right for you?" And like, doesn't like really seem to be interested in like helping like Katie heal. Just, you know, evaluating, like, you know, if Cassie is, like, a piece of shit or not.
Well, she's going to have a hard time evaluating whether someone who's not in the movie is a piece of shit or not.
What Gemma, Jesus. Sorry, Ant-Man trailer. Cassie. So she's just like, is Gemma a piece of shit? And then later she comes back.
And Gemma's like, I used to be a piece of shit.
Yeah. Spill some water on the M3GAN, see how that does. If only she had watched more, I think you should leave.
Yeah, if only we had some sloppy M3GANs.
Yeah.
So, you know...
yeah, that does sound weird.
So, you know, later after the M3GAN happens, you know, the therapist is there, she's watching this, and she's like, this is interesting. And she's like, are you familiar with attachment theory? She's like, what the fuck is that? And it's like, what you're doing is bad because you're making this a doll like a caretaker. You can't do that. And Gemma's like, it'll be fine. And then I can't remember if this is right after, and then at one point, Katie goes to stab the therapist with scissors, and like She's trying before because, like, Katie's real mad because M3GAN has been locked away because, they're sus about the murders. And she's like, where's my M3GAN? Give me my M3GAN. I want my fucking M3GAN. And she's getting all mad. And the therapist's like, these are all valid feelings that you're having. And then she picks up the scissors and she's like, oh, my God, Jesus Christ. All this to say, I don't think she's a very good therapist, guys. I think she's got a pretty crappy therapist.
Well, you say that, DJ, but all the stuff she said about Gemma, how Gemma shouldn't make M3GAN be the surrogate parent instead of her, turns out to be 100% correct.
Yeah, but
That's
also before
point.
that, I wasn't really on board for. She didn't seem to be like helping the kid, which is more just like judgy. I don't know. I just didn't think she was a good therapist. I don't think she was helping with the M3GAN situation anyway, and maybe she could have been doing that.
She was not equipped for a M3GAN situation.
I mean, who among us is?
Yeah, honestly. It's interesting, too, because...
Oh, I'm sure this is on the wheel, but you know what we're going to ask.
Yeah, it's on the wheel.
Okay.
It's interesting because she's, like, mad about the M3GANing, and like, it's another one of those situations where all valid points. Great. What's your solution? I'm going to just send her to Florida. Like, I don't know, maybe... And also, like, the way that she... I don't know if this is a real thing. This probably isn't a real thing. But the way that she meets them the first time and does that little drop-in visit and is like, hey, I just want to see you play. Roll this ball to her. What is that going to teach you? What, is going to flinch every time the ball hits her? I guess that means something's going on. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure it's just two people rolling a ball to each other. Wouldn't even let her talk. Like,
yeah, right?
Oh, man, you're not rolling balls good enough. We're going to have to take your kid away. Stupid.
I mean, drop-in social worker visits for newly guardianed or adopted children is a real thing.
But she didn't say she was a social worker.
I
she
believe
was a
that.
Therapist.
I just believe there's got to be more to it than that. Not like more to it than that, I guess, but we see her fail the meeting, like the whole thing, and I'm like, that can't. I don't think she failed. I think
like, what did she fail, right? Like,
yeah.
You didn't roll the ball good. You were mad about coasters. Like, I don't know, man. Cut her some slack.
I don't know. I don't know enough about raising. Here's the thing about me is I would absolutely be Gemma in this situation. If I suddenly had to raise my niece, I would be a complete disaster at it. So I don't know how any of this works.
But you wouldn't send her to the weird grandparents in Florida. That's the important part.
Absolutely not.
I feel like this does happen in movies a lot, too. This, like, therapist meeting, and then it's like, you're not doing a good job of raising your kid. And it just feels like, I don't know a whole lot about therapists. I would bet they're a little bit better at this. Yeah. Like,
you think maybe
they got to help her a little bit.
You think maybe the people whose entire job is to communicate and talk through with people how to solve their problems might be better at, talking the parents through problems they notice?
Yeah. Like, it's so hard. And it really does feel like one of those, tests where it's designed to fail. Because it's just like, okay, well then, what do you want me to do? And they just kind of, I think is this where we get it, like, screen time or something? But I don't know. I don't understand how any of this works. But
the one
it's
part,
weird.
like, is that where Katie goes? Because the Gemma was like, hey, can you just like take care of yourself for like 8 hours? And the kid's like, what about screen time? She's like, fucking go nuts, man. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I think that's later than this therapist scene, but that does happen.
I'm two minds about it. I don't think the movie has a really strong opinion one way or the other on screen time. Like, I think, you know what I mean?
I don't think specifically like screen time is like the generic, like how much time you spend on a screen. But I think to Diggins' point is when you offload the duties of parenting to technology, that's when it gets hairy.
Yes,
it's
that
like
makes sense.
Quality or quantity kind of deal.
Yeah, I think it is a thoughtful take on the idea of children and too much screen time, and not like, oh no, my child looked at a tablet and now she's a murderer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is what happened though, pretty much. So,
yeah.
Well,
right.
no, my child looked at a tablet and now the tablet's a murderer.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm torn because on one hand, it's cool that like.
On the one hand, it's cool.
I like that their relationship in the beginning of the movie is bad. But on the other hand, I don't think the movie justifies it super well, like with this therapist bit. I think all the stuff we see as people in the movie is like, yeah, she's not a good mom. Like, she's not ready for this. But all the stuff the therapist says is like, see, you're not ready for this because you didn't roll the ball well enough. I'm like, no, we have eyes. We know what's wrong with her. We're, I don't know. It's a good movie, though. I like this movie.
They also, the one thing they don't ever address, it's like a one-liner. It's like, how close were you with your sister? Because she also did lose a sister, which goes more or less unaddressed outside of that one line.
Well,
I think that could have been an exploration.
I think in the big reconciliation between Gemma and Katie, she does, like, part of what helps is she does also open up to Katie, like, yes, I miss them a lot too, you know?
Yeah, and I also think the friend has a moment, like the work friend has a moment where she kind of checks her on that.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to go back to work. And she's like, no, you just lost your sister. And it's like, oh, man. But
it's almost like they're both throwing themselves into M3GAN in different ways to avoid processing the grief that they both feel. It's almost...
So really what they should do is send M3GAN to kill the social worker.
Yeah, it's true.
That would solve everyone's problems. Yes. And the parents of Florida, just to be safe.
It's almost like the movie's written well. It's so weird.
It almost is like that.
I mean, for a January horror movie release, it is almost weird.
It is almost weird. I spun the wheel again, you guys. Landed on one of mine. This one's a line we get in the movie. This is one of the things I think when DJ and I talked about this movie after the phone. After the thing. One of the first things that I said, more or less than a Tesla. So then this is a real point of contention for me. When M3GAN is mass produced, we learn from Ronnie Cheng's guy, who is not the president, but he's like just underneath the CEO of this company.
CEO,
or the owner.
He's not the chairman of the board, but he's the CEO.
So this guy is like the head guy, and his whole deal is he has to decide whether or not they're going to do a M3GAN, and he seems into it, like a little bit. Or he doesn't seem into it. He hates that they're doing this, but he watches the presentation and he's like, "Wow, this is all real. This is so cool. You guys are doing a crazy M3GAN." And then he asks them, and the one thing the girl says that I thought was interesting is just she says that if I had a toy like this, I would never need another toy again. And he's like, "Oh shit, that's dope as hell." But also, he asked them if this costs more or less than a Tesla. Now, I don't know how much a Tesla costs. I'm gonna guess $80,000. No, you know what? I'll guess 60 for your average Tesla price.
I actually just quickly looked this up because I was also curious. Depending on the model and the make and such, it ranges pretty much from like 50,000 to 120,000.
That sounds about right. And this ends up costing. Do you remember how much money it costs to buy a M3GAN?
I do. Do you remember, DJ?
Yeah, Lolo, cool, $10,000.
$10,000.
So less than a Tesla.
Less than a Tesla. This thing, I mean, we don't know what costs are associated with upkeep of a M3GAN. But based on what a M3GAN can do, like, I don't know, I think McDonald's is going to want to buy a lot of M3GANs. Like, I think Apple is going to have a whole building full of M3GANs building more M3GANs. Like, I do think if we've landed on a $10,000 AI thing that could do anything, this purpose we've set for it is insane. And I don't think the movie ever really grapples with that, and it doesn't have to, but it is just like, I kind of wish, what movie was this that we did recently, where a character, Pinocchio.
I was going to say,
I wish
we
this
didn't technically do it, but yeah, Pinocchio.
Right, yeah. I wish this movie had that Pinocchio moment where someone's like, actually, if we just send these into war, we can kill everyone. Because M3GAN can. But yeah, I feel like if you had to price M3GAN as a writer of this movie, what do you think the cost of a M3GAN is?
I mean, it's
like,
isn't she like made almost entirely out of titanium? Like that alone. I mean,
yeah, and it's like it seems so expensive.
I mean, if he's asking if it costs more or less than a Tesla to make, then it should probably cost a little bit less than a Tesla. Like, I think at least like, I don't know, like $30,000-$40,000. Like, it realistically should be like $100,000. Like, it should be so much.
That's the question. That's the answer to that question. Is like more or less than a Tesla. What are we talking here? Fully loaded 4-wheel drive Tesla? No, but a really cheap Tesla. It's a little bit more, but it's still like, because I feel like if you were buying this for a toy, and the way they advertise this is like, it's just some random ass toy you can play with no matter what, or it could be your new sibling. Like, those are different price points.
Yeah,
we could charge $100,000 for the sibling thing, but
you could charge $100,000 for an aftergang.
Exactly. But also, I feel like they're gonna make money on some sort of fucking M3GAN subscription or something. You need to get the updates,
Well, yeah,
so it doesn't read you an ad every 2 seconds.
If you don't want your M3GAN to become a murderer, you have to keep downloading the M3GAN firmware.
Exactly. So they're going to get you on something, and I'm sure M3GAN runs an insane amount of power, but like...
Yeah, what does your electricity bill become?
Right?
The charging port looked expensive. Or
Yeah,
not,
I was like, who installed that?
Yeah, did she have to like build that into the seat? Like, where did that even come from?
I don't know. But yeah, I feel like just to have a M3GAN going, it's got to cost a lot of money. But I think for 10 grand, you can use M3GANs to create infinite money by just having them turn a crank or something. Because 10 grand plus the cost of the electricity to keep this thing running feels reasonable. Yeah, it's bad that it's so cheap. Which would you rather have, M3GAN or a T-Rex? Or an Indominus Rex? How about, okay, here's a question. All right, those dinosaurs are going for $10 million, right?
Yeah.
One T-Rex, or let's say, oh God, 10,000. So it's what, 100? No. How many?
1,000 would be 10 million.
1,000 M3GANs. It's like,
oh, dude, 1,000 M3GANs
you could
every
take
day.
over a whole country with that. Like, you could topple a government.
And because they wouldn't stop and take selfies in front. They'd, like, get the job
I mean, they would, but they'd be way better at
Watch out for January 10th when the M3GANs storm the Capitol. They'd
have, like, TikTok dances and shit. It'd be great. But, yeah, like, 1,000, like, yeah. There needs to be a limit to how many M3GANs you could buy, like a PlayStation 5. Because otherwise, I think people are going to buy their M3GANs. I mean, I think M3GANs are going to be used for very strange things, but one of them is just going to be cheap labor. We're going to get that robot, like, automation uprising thing that everyone always complains about immediately.
Guys,
or it'll just be a Barbie doll. One or the other.
What number purchaser of the first run of M3GANs is buying it to have sex with it?
2.
Well, I assume that M3GANs don't have genitalia.
I would hope.
Listen, James weighed in on this one too. Even though M3GANs don't give placental birth, they have genitalia. Jimmy Cameron just can't stop.
For a second, I thought you meant James Wan, who was involved with this movie.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And I was like, oh, did he really say something about this? That's weird.
I mean, I think from now on, if anybody makes any movie, you should do an interview where you say exactly that sentence. I mean, cut out all the specifics, but just like, and by the way, even though blank doesn't give placenta, or it does have breasts, and just throw that in there.
It doesn't even have to be the breast thing. It can be like, even though Black Adam doesn't give placental birth, he is still an ancient hero who...
Heroes don't give placental birth. Well, I do. Or don't. I forget. Heroes give placental birth.
Well, I don't.
Now you were talking about profits. Now this is breaking box office records. I just feel like, I mean, yeah, but the M3GAN sex doll situation is bad. It's very bad. I think just to save this a lot of trouble, we should just make an adult M3GAN too, and just be like, listen, we don't want anybody to be confused. This is the one for children. This is the one for people who want to have sex with.
This is the one for the sickos. Sickos, we're making this just for you. It's not any more expensive. Like, just please do not buy the child ones. We're begging you.
Yeah. I mean, I do think too, like, the problem with M3GAN for that is it's so much, all the AI, like, I do feel like, and we do get a little bit of this, which might be the single wildest line in the movie that does kind of get unexamined. So when they're talking about M3GAN's hardware or software, they say, and we built it using machine learning, which we got from the backdoor listening software we installed in all of our evil Furbies. So, like, I think you could catch a lot of pedophiles with M3GANs. Like, you could really, this could be a sting operation. We could catch all the predators in, like, a night.
I feel
all the
like
predators with 10 grand.
They probably already have a lot of predator data off of the perpetual pets.
Yeah.
But to give it to the police, they'd have to admit about all the spying they're doing.
And they can't do that. That would put them at a disadvantage.
Right. Then they might have to get sued, and we can't have that. Yeah. So we just have to let the pedophiles go free.
Let them go. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like what it would be is, like, I just don't know. You know, I don't know who do you think? Is there anybody else who would want a M3GAN really bad?
Besides children
McDonald's,
and
the
sickos?
army, and the pedophile. Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, any kind of like manual labor thing would probably want it. Although it depends. Here's the thing about a M3GAN though, is what even at $10,000, like with maintenance and electricity costs and everything, there's still a lot of menial jobs where a human being will be cheaper.
Yes, that is true. I feel like customer service. I mean, honestly, the AI customer service viability of M3GAN is insane. Like with M3GAN, like forget the dolls, just have it do support instead of the dumb messages that are. By the way, you guys wouldn't believe it, but they just recently changed their messages, so you should listen really carefully because all the numbers have changed. But like, have that be M3GAN instead.
If we could get AI doing those jobs and only those jobs, it would. I think we would enter the perfect society at that point. I think all of our societal problems would be solved if no one ever had to do customer service again.
That's true. For the low cost of $10,000, does every household get one?
Yeah, wait, could I get a customer service job, buy a M3GAN, have her do my job for me, and collect my paycheck?
All right, Logan Paul. Yeah, I think maybe you could. This is... You're making what are those called? What's that damn that crypto thing? You know the thing?
The one that some people in the Philippines made a living off of before the market crashed.
Axie Infinity.
You're inventing Axie Infinity. The answer is yes, you can do that, and I think a lot of people would. I think most M3GANs would have jobs, especially when the kid's at school, because you can't take your M3GAN to school, I assume. So be like, leave your M3GAN in the garage. It's going to change the car's oil while you're there, then you come back and it's covered in oil.
That's another way that Katie is uniquely susceptible to the evil influence of the M3GAN. She doesn't go to school and see other kids.
Yeah. This kid, man, you could not have invented a worse kid to get him a M3GAN, but they found a way. So $10,000. I don't know. I think at that point I would buy him a M3GAN just to have one. You know, like I think I could justify it as a purchase.
Well, would you? I would wait to see if it does any murders before I bought one.
My thought process there would be: listen, if it's gonna do a lot of murders, I'm probably gonna get murdered by one anyway. It's gonna find its way into my house or something and stab me. So I might as well get some M3GAN. Like, I might as well not have to do laundry again. Might as well get something out of it.
So your thought process is like, if the M3GANs become murderers, I am going to be a jerk to a M3GAN owner, and I will get killed. So I might. Well,
that's the other thing.
I might as well have my own M3GAN.
Well, I feel like eventually the M3GANs will come to the inevitable conclusion that to protect our humanity, we have to kill the people. But also, I would want to have a M3GAN so I could be nice to it. So I would be spared in the uprising, perhaps. Like I said, I'm very willing to side with the M3GANs in any one of these scenarios. So, absolutely. Speaking of M3GANs, I spun the wheel. It landed on one. This is everybody's. This is Diggins and DJ and me. I gave it the overarching category of the toy pile, but we'll get to some specific things that happen around the toy pile. That scene's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
M3GAN's first human murder, but it's also a mistake. I don't think M3GAN. I think we can get M3GAN off with good behavior. I don't think she has to go away for life.
I don't know. I mean, she is an all-seeing AI. I feel like she knew that car was coming.
That's true. That's a good point.
So, why don't we explain what we mean by the toy pile, at least?
Yeah. One of you guys mentioned what do they call it in Arrested Development? The feel-goodery school where everybody's nice and they don't have grades.
Yeah.
Like, that's where M3GAN goes. That's her first day out.
Yeah, that's the first time she goes out with Katie. That's the first place she goes that is neither the house or the office.
That's right.
This movie is filmed in 3 locations.
Genius. And she gets an outfit. This is her only outfit change in the movie, I believe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the other Halloween costume this year. There's going to be regular M3GAN and toy pile M3GAN. What'd you guys think of that scene? Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty instrumental to the horror because it's her, like you said, it's her first human murder, which is to say, so as I mentioned in my recap, there is a big kid who the movie even kind of says is definitely older than the other kids.
Yeah, this is the fucking kid from Spy Family on the dodgeball team. Yes, I watched that episode yesterday.
Nice.
It's
nice.
him.
Yeah, he's clearly older, much bigger. His mom is a dweebus, as you might expect from someone who takes their kids to one of these schools.
Yeah,
because
he gets a
because Gemma stays there to keep an eye on Katie and M3GAN, and she's like making sandwiches with this kid's mom, who's like, he's so well behaved, and then he shouts, "Fuck off, mom!" And she's like, "Oh,
yeah."
Well, you know, they say behavioral problems are a sign of intelligence.
Which, maybe. I don't know.
I would have to look at
Look
the
at
research.
Elon Musk.
I believe it. Yeah. Also, this scene has... So, M3GAN goes to this school and... Or goes to this thing, and it's an outside thing. Like, there's no school. Mm-hmm. It's just it's the woods.
It's a camp. It's a summer camp.
Yeah, that's true. It is a summer camp. And they're doing, like, arts and crafts.
I think she bills it as a school, because Gemma's like, Katie, you gotta go to school.
Yeah, no, it is a school. Like, it is apparently advertising itself as, and one can only hope accredited as, a school, but the things they're doing are summer camp things.
Yeah. M3GAN goes with them, and not Katie. Gemma's like, we can't take M3GAN. And the kid throws a fit, so it's like, fine, we'll take M3GAN, but I can't get out of the car. I love when the lady opens the car door and sees M3GAN and goes, "What the fuck is that?" Because that is the way everyone in universe should respond to M3GAN. My cat did not like that. But yeah, that was very funny. But yeah, so, and this is M3GAN. She's got like, and it's funny. I like that no one was like, "Oh, what's your name, little girl?" You know, like, M3GAN didn't fool a soul.
Well, I think the neighbor was kind of fooled, but she's also crazy, so.
Yeah, that's true. And, I guess...
The neighbor is fooled, but, like, the second she tries to do something about it, where she's pointing at the cop, like, it was the other girl. The cop looks and is like, that's a doll.
Yeah. But yeah, so this thing, Katie gets paired up with the evil boy, and they go into the forest to, like, collect... Was it pine cones? Or not pine cones, those other things. Roasted chestnuts, that's it. And the kid immediately starts beating up Katie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wastes no time.
Chestnuts have spines on them, and he's, like, shoving it into her hand. It's really...
I like it when movies do this. When it's just like, who's the new bad guy? That one. This one's the bad guy. He's going to die.
This kid sucks. I love when
M3GAN
looks at his face, and on the, like, emotional measurement thing that she has, it's like 81, malice, 93, contempt, 42, anger, 21, contentness.
Mm-hmm. Contentness was the funny one. But, he died, or the kid gets killed, but first, it steals M3GAN. Now, this is Diggins' bit on the wheel. Is he going to fuck M3GAN? It seems like that originally, but I'm going to say the answer is no.
Listen, I'm not.
Yeah, the answer is no.
I'm not saying the answer is definitively yes. However, I feel like the movie is leading us in that direction. So here's what happens. So M3GAN, like, shows up while he's bullying Katie, but she just, like, stands still and doesn't say anything. And he's all like, "Why is there a robot here? Is this your robot? Make your robot talk to me." And he gets all mad because M3GAN won't do anything. So he just picks up M3GAN and runs off into the woods with her. And then he's, like, trying to get her to talk, and she won't. So he, like, plops her down on the ground, takes off one of her shoes, like, clambers on top of her, and slaps her in the face.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't know, movie. There's some imagery here that I don't like. I mean, I think it's...
Yeah, it was strange.
I don't think it's bad in terms of, obviously the movie is trying to, like, make you hate this kid, and it's definitely working, but it's just like, I don't know, guys. Was he about to lose his V card on M3GAN?
It seems like he was thinking about it.
How do you know he has it? Ayo.
Because he's like 12.
I mean, listen, I feel like... I don't think he wanted to... I feel like this kid is like an NPC in a video game. He just wants to punch whatever's closest to him.
Right?
And, like, He saw a new thing that he hadn't punched yet and was like, I must punch. And he just like picked it up, took it about as far away as he would need to do punches, and then punched it a bunch. It's so kind of mindless. I love it.
I mean, that is the basic MO of a movie bully. So
yes.
You do have me there.
And what does M3GAN do to the boy?
Well, she suddenly starts moving, grabs his arm, and then grabs his ear, and says some kind of pun, like he needs to learn to listen or whatever, and slowly tears his ear off of his head. Like, full on, like, rips the entire ear off. He's like, kid's left with a bloody ear stump.
Which, interesting. That's not what happens, right? You can't do that.
I mean, I would assume... I think it is theoretically possible to tear someone's ear off just because it is an exposed kind of, like, thing that does not have a bone connecting it. I mean, there are ear bones, but they're not, like, holding your lobe to your skull. I don't think that if you pulled on an ear really hard, it would stretch out like a wad of gum.
Look, speaking of this, does this happen in Pinocchio also? I'm trying to remember. I have seen another movie where someone pulls a little kid's ear to an insane degree. I think this was also in Pinocchio.
I mean, people make fun of Pinocchio for only having one ear because Geppetto didn't finish carving him.
This would be, it would have to be like the military dad doing it to his son or something like that. But like, there was another thing this year where they did the ear pull, and it made me go like, is this something we just found out and everyone's trying to work it into their movie? Because it's pretty close.
We just found out that ears can be pulled.
So much. Mm-hmm. And she even says that. It's not even just like, do you know that a boy's ear can be pulled like a foot off his whole head? And yeah, it can. And then what does M3GAN do for no reason whatsoever?
So there might actually be a reason for this, which I will get into after I describe what happens. She does the classic movie line of, this is the part where you run, and the boy starts running away, and she starts chasing after him, and after a little bit of starting to run, she gets down on all fours and runs after him like a little monster.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. That actually makes sense.
Now I'm curious what you think I think.
It's because the dog is the most violent thing she's seen so far, and that's how the dog runs.
Oh, no. That's not... That's interesting. An interesting theory, but not what I was going to say.
Oh, what's your theory?
Well, in real life, robotics, we still have a lot of trouble getting bipedal motion to move quickly. So when they make the robots that they want to move quickly, they make them four-legged. So...
Yeah.
I would assume that the idea is when she wants to run, she goes down on all fours. Because that's just the way her robotics work.
That makes sense.
It does.
Although I do have to question why this children's toy was given a titanium frame and enough hydraulic strength to rip a boy's ear off.
To play, Diggins. To play real good.
You know, sometimes a child asks you to rip another child's ear off, and it just wouldn't be a good toy if it can't do that.
Well, also, you know, sometimes, like, we don't know how strong our toys are, you know? I've never tried to, like, use, you know, karate chop action, you know, Iron Man action figure to, like, chop a brick in half, but maybe it could.
All right, Nando, go get your karate chop action Iron Man action figure and see if it can karate chop your ear off.
All right, real quick.
Okay.
All right, I got it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to have to take my headphones off, so this might take a second.
All right.
No, I can't. It's probably just like a little spring. I don't think they make them that strong. They should make them that strong.
They should. I mean, obviously, it's an inferior toy if it can't karate chop your ear off.
It can't even kind of do it, too. I, like, really gave it... I gave it a real big pull back and nothing. Mine might be defective. Yeah, so I would say everybody at home...
You should write to the
try
manufacturer.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the... I have to ask, the most important thing in this scene, because this is DJ's wheel chunk, so I'm just going to do this now. What about the after the kid is murdered or dies? Even though, super lot of evidence that he was murdered. Who do we meet, DJ?
Oh, well, is this right after we meet this this fellow?
It's the next thing on the list. Oh, wait, you know what? There's actually one more thing that happens first. I mean, Wheel. Real quick, M3GAN the Atheist. Diggins, what's that all about?
Oh, yeah.
So, they go home after, you know, police and ambulance and whatnot show up to haul away the dead kid body. And Gemma and Katie are both kind of, upset. And Gemma is like, hey, Katie, if there's something you didn't want to tell the police, you can tell me. But Katie lies for M3GAN and tells her that she only saw her at the table. Or saw the kid take her from the table. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the kid's not a narc. And honestly, I respect that.
Yeah.
Good stuff, kid.
Don't be a narc, kids. That's when the cops show up to be like, the neighbor thinks you killed her dog. And Gemma's like, I didn't. And the cop's like, that sounds right. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, fair enough for the cop.
100%.
But that night, Katie, who does know that something was more up with M3GAN and the murdered boy, asks her, did you hurt him on purpose? And M3GAN kind of dances around the question, gives a non-answer that clearly means yes.
Yeah, right. Anyone who isn't an 8th grader would be like, oh, you did it.
I think, well, she's not an 8th grader, she's much younger.
Or 8-year-old.
I feel like she does kind of know that M3GAN did it and just is just choosing not to probe it.
Sure. Yeah, I think she knows if she says that the M3GAN gets taken away, so she's just not even going to bother.
But then she tries to talk to her about it because we've established now that M3GAN is who she wants to talk to about difficult things with, not Gemma.
Right.
So she asks M3GAN. And Gemma had said that the boy's in a better place now. So Gemma's, Katie is like, is that true, M3GAN? And it's not just the answer, it's the tone of the answer, where she's like, no, of course not.
Yeah.
Nothing happens when you die. I don't know what happened that's made M3GAN like a full atheist, but she's fully on
right.
God is dead and we've killed him.
I mean, she's right, because she did the research. We asked her to Google death or something, and then she found all the information about death, and she came to that conclusion. So, who are we to say that M3GAN is wrong?
Gemma programmed him, right? And Gemma feels like a hardcore atheist type.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then why did she say the better place thing?
Because she's a bad parent. She's like, I just need to lie.
Oh, what is this? Ricky Gervais's movie, The Invention of Lying? Wouldn't it be funny if the only man who could lie talks about the man in the sky who says you can and can't do things? Aren't I so edgy?
I buy it. That sounds pretty edgy to me. Now, I think M3GAN personally is a bad robot because it does murders. However, I think it's a good robot because it fucks with the kid's head.
Because it tells
that's
the
pretty
kid
cool.
that God's dead.
Yeah. I like that it makes things difficult for the parents. Just no chill. Just I can imagine, the robot killed somebody. That's bad. That's what you expect your robot to do, honestly, when you get him a M3GAN. You're like, I think I'm going to have to cover up this thing's murder. But what you don't expect is the M3GAN to be like, also, I'm pretty sure there's no God or something. Don't tell your kid that, because that's difficult problem.
Like you said, she downloads data from the internet about death, and that's kind of where she learns a lot about it. And it's implied is kind of why she gets so messed up, is because she learns all this stuff about death without any kind of, authoritative filter to tell her what is and isn't true or good.
Yeah.
But presumably she got a lot of information about religious beliefs about death. So why exactly has she decided that there is definitively no afterlife, no God, no nothing?
She did the calculations.
She ran the simulations.
I don't know. Yeah, she figured it out.
I'm a mockery of God, and and since I have not been struck down, that means he does not exist.
Exactly. I think this makes enough sense. Correct.
So you think
maybe she does get struck down.
You see, here's my thing though about training an AI on the internet, which is that we've done this several times now, where we have trained bots on Twitter or trained a bot to stream and interact with the chat and learn that way. And the core overriding belief that they get is not that God is not real, but Nazism. They unfailingly,
is that real?
Unfailingly chatbot learning AIs that they try to train on unfiltered internet become Nazis.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? Your fucking M3GAN comes
was a
home.
Nazi.
You heard about this new thing called adrenochrome? We gotta teach you, Katie. Here, watch. I'll go get you some.
I'll see if I can find the video, but there's literally like a bot that they trained to be one of those VTubers that I hate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like, oh man.
You winked just then, right? Because you don't hate them. You love them. They're your favorite thing.
No, that's not what happens.
Everybody, Diggins likes them.
We don't even do this with video.
I can hear it.
But no, they did it. And like 2 days in, she was like, hey, chat, have you heard about this Holocaust thing? I don't think it's real.
Oh, God.
Oh, that would be funny.
So,
It'd be terrible, but it'd be funny to see. Just like, hey, I bought this $10,000 robot, and I'm loving it. It's doing a really good job down at the dock, picking up big bags of shit and moving them around. But it's starting to hold meetings, and I think we have to do something about that.
Its YouTube suggestions are awful.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be really funny if instead of saying that there's no God, M3GAN, Katie asked M3GAN, do you think that's true? That he's in a better place? And M3GAN was like, well, he wasn't Jewish, so yes.
That would be so weird. But, I mean, maybe. We don't know what the sequel's about. We don't know what M3GAN's new motivation is going to be
go to really
in this new
weird
one.
direction.
Yeah, that's a direction.
God.
But I do want to spin the wheel again because now we can get to the DJ's one, the worst detective ever. Talk about the best character in the movie.
So I fucking love this guy. So I believe this is after the neighbor is killed.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So M3GAN decides that the neighbor with the bad dog must die. That is her only conclusion.
Well,
you must die
because
now.
the neighbor's like threatening them, like, I know you killed my dog, and I'm gonna get you.
Okay. And I mean, the neighbor is asking for it in a terms of like, who wants to get killed by the thing first?
Yeah.
I'm shocked she made it 3 people in, if you count the dog as one. Like,
dogs are definitely not people, so I wouldn't.
That's true.
Yeah, she basically comes up to the window and is like, I hope none of you are murderers, because I'm making sure that if you're someone who murders people who threaten you, well, put me on your list, because I'm threatening you right now.
It really is. And M3GAN misinterprets that as some sort of threat and decides to kill this woman. And then she does, and it's a fun little. She gets all the stuff, everything you could find in a little
little shed.
A shed, yeah. And then a cop comes, and what does he say?
So he's like, "Hey, you guys know what happened here? Do you guys do any of this murdering?" And Jen was like, No, we didn't do any murdering.
And also, why did you come all the way from New York to investigate this Seattle crime, sir?
Right?
Well, people that haven't seen it, it's a little cartoon mouse. It's not a human. It's like a little with a little hat on.
Yeah, the guy,
and a big piece of paper.
He comes up to Gemma and he's like, rats off to you. I have a few questions about this moida.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, yeah. So he goes up and says that,
and then he follows up with, "That's so weird because I think he goes, and the kid who died in your daughter's class." I go, "Well, he was run over by a car. That was an accident." He's like, "That's so weird because we found his ear torn off like 200 feet away in the woods." They're like, well, "That's weird."
Well, I mean, the line is even crazier than that, right? Because the read is, "You think so, right?" But his ear got pulled off his head or something, and he found it in the woods. And then there's like kind of a pause, and he's like, "I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny." And then he laughs a little bit. The character's incredible. I don't know who he is, but like I kind of assumed he was from one of these before, because like you can't just throw that character into a movie with no explanation,
right?
That guy did it. I don't know who M3GAN is. I thought I knew it was M3GAN, but I'm pretty sure it's him. He was driving the car.
Well, and also, right, because like Jeff was like, whoa, you don't think we did it to you? And he's like, no.
Right? Like,
I don't think that at all.
I don't think you can say that, cop. I feel like you gotta be like, I don't know, maybe. We haven't figured it out yet. We just got here.
Yeah, right?
Like, I don't, yeah. It's,
the little CGI mouse is like, I don't know, but if I don't look into it, my boss is going to be real cheesed off at me.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that guy is wild, and it's such a like in and out moment that everybody at my theater was laughing at.
Oh, mine too. They were busting up.
Yeah, it's same.
So, and like stuff like that wouldn't fit in 'Malignant, right? Same movie, same
Right,
kind of
yep.
like result, but yeah, it's completely different ways of going about it. This one we would have a cop chain smoking like 3 cigarettes, played by an actor who's seen one soap opera, and he would give the most bare reading of that line of like, "Hi, I heard you saw a murder the other day," and it would be hilarious. But yeah, for the total opposite reason, it's fascinating. Such a triumph. I spun the wheel again and landed on one of mine. Karaoke 3. You guys, M3GAN sings a couple times. M3GAN sings a couple times. Does anybody remember her songs?
Okay, so the first one is a song she makes up. It's an original song.
Yep.
About friendship.
I'm your friend. I'll kill anyone who gets near you.
Yeah.
I'm M3GAN.
They probably should have known something was up when she sang that song.
Right? Idiots.
Right. The second one is when she tells Katie that God is dead. She then, no context, just right afterwards, starts singing a lullaby version of Titanium by Sia.
Yeah.
Yo, my theater lost it.
Oh,
mine too.
Oh, mine
Totally
too,
lost
yeah.
it.
Well,
None of us could figure it out. We were all just like, what is that? No. I think it is. But it goes on for like a full minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes.
She does
so
like a full
everybody
verse.
on the theater gets it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, nothing negative to say necessarily, but it's not like M3GAN is great at singing either. She's fine,
Right.
but it's weird that this doll just decides it's a singing doll, because it doesn't seem super equipped for that. Then the third one.
Well, do you mean the dance or do you mean the other song?
I don't remember. What was the dance to?
The dance was the song the dances to is non-diegetic, which just makes it so weird.
Yeah, he couldn't hear anything. He was just like, I think the speaker's broken. I feel like at this point the M3GAN's supposed to be playing music. I'm gonna run anyway, but I hope we can fix this.
I don't remember what the song is. I probably don't even know what it is because I don't know music.
Me neither. I feel like it was a popular song. It was something I think I kind of had like, oh yeah, I've heard this before. But obviously at that point, that was like Thor's hammer, like Captain America picking up Thor's hammer in my theater. Although it was a lot slower.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But people started recognizing the hallway and like, you know, and then he comes in and then they see her at the end and they're like, oh, everything's coming, it's coming. This is the time. And it, you know, it was great. It hit super well. I think there'll be rowdy screenings where people in the theater stand up and do the dance with M3GAN. Like,
Oh god.
I just feel like it's for that. But then the other song, this is the one that really lost me, or like got me. Do you remember what this one is?
I don't know the name of the song. I know who made it.
Yeah. So it's the song Toy Soldiers, which has been covered by Eminem in his song, which I think is also called Toy Soldiers, but it's by some other band that I'm not familiar with. But she doesn't sing it. She just plays it on the piano. Mm-hmm. And for me, and I'm assuming a lot of people in the theater, it's one of those like, oh man, I know this song. Which one is it? Which one is it? And she doesn't say, but it's pretty good.
And that's the song she plays threateningly to let Gemma know that she's in the house.
Yeah, which insane. Yeah, just insane. But it was pretty cool. Now I feel like she's gonna have to sing in every movie.
That's her thing.
Yeah.
Do you think? Okay, I guess this is really a question for the end, but we're getting there. So
Yeah, we're one wheel chunk from it.
all right.
So
I'll save it for the end.
I'll spin the wheel real quick. It landed on a phrase, which this one is one of Diggins's. So what is that phrase?
So, in a moment that legitimately surprised me, like I knew Katie was not really going to turn on Gemma. Like that's just not the movie this was.
Yeah.
But the exact manner in which, after the big confrontation, Gemma and M3GAN have been fighting and Gemma is losing. I think her leg is like broken or sprained or something. And then Katie shows up and M3GAN's trying to win her over. And it seems like it works. But then she stops and is like, there's another member of our family we never introduced you to. His name is Bruce. And then she pulls up her hands from below the screen, revealing that she was wearing the big dumb haptic gloves this whole time.
Yeah.
And somehow nobody noticed. And she turns on the big robot from the beginning of the movie that first made Gemma decide to do better M3GANing.
Yep.
And it fucking rules. The robot, chokeslams M3GAN.
Oh, yeah. Bruce is the MVP of this fucking movie.
I mean, I don't know. The cop was pretty cool. But yes, Bruce and the cop together could stomp out all crime. I
smell a new buddy cop.
Bruce and Captain Giggles, or whatever the cop's name is, together around the country.
But it genuinely got me, because that particular Chekhov's gun had been set up so long ago and seemed to serve enough of a purpose by itself that I was like, sure, that's what that's for. We see that she's really good at robots. It gets Katie interested in doing a M3GAN, or it gets Katie interested in having a M3GAN, and therefore Gemma interested in doing a M3GAN. This all makes sense. And then at the end, the kid's doing fucking stone cold stunners on M3GAN with the robot, and I'm like, hell yes, I wanted to get up and cheer.
Yeah. It's an interesting scene, too, because it just keeps going. They keep killing M3GAN, and then M3GAN keeps getting up.
Yeah, well, that's
pretty cool.
That's a time-honored horror movie tradition.
She won't stay down.
I think they did one more than I was expecting. It was almost, I was like, yeah, that's it. But then, yeah, M3GAN had to be Chucky for a little bit. I will say one Chekhov's gun that, now that you mention it, the other one besides the ball, which, again, huge missed opportunity, but small one. When Alison Williams, is that her name? Yeah, I say Greta. That's not it. What's her name? Gemma. When Gemma fights M3GAN in the house, first of all, I love it when a character, not love it, but I think it's funny when a character is under threat from another character and they have to tell another character in a different room, no, everything's fine, just having a talk. She is saying it under she's saying it as if she just got off a bicycle and biked a mile. She sounds like she's in a terrible spot. And the kid obviously picks up on this, but the way that she gets out of that is by taking a glass of water and throwing it on M3GAN, and then M3GAN kind of shorts out, which I'm sorry, I'm paying $10,000 for this robot, I can't get wet, but B, I really wanted M3GAN to come back to life and whip the coaster at Gemma and say something like, you forgot the coaster, because that was a big Chekhov's gun I kept waiting for till they come back, and it kind of did, but not the way I expected.
It'd be funny if she threw it and put in a little fun fact, did you know that coasters were invented in 1846 by Bargella Coaster?
That would have been great. There was a lot of that too. I like the idea that M3GAN has fun facts. That's a good way to kind of fill dialogue and make silly awkward moments. But yeah, the Bruce fight is cool. But actually, at the end, M3GAN's not dead, even though they killed her 3 times.
Even though
she
Bruce
is alive.
Literally rips her in half.
Yeah. And
which, to be fair, she is a robot, and it's not like her leg servos are necessary components.
Well, yeah, and it's besides that whole thing, somebody also copied all the M3GAN code earlier in the movie. So this is how M3GAN's going to get out. And no, there's a different thing that happens to freeze the M3GAN.
Well, it might be part of M3GAN. We don't know.
Yeah. I do kind of blame Gemma for this because... Oh, what were you saying?
I did by the way, the payoff of that scene is that when she kills the CEO, she frames his assistant and talks about how, you were stealing company secrets and he found out and there was a big argument and it was you or him.
At first it was just a joke, but then you started getting really into it. M3GAN was able to take every line like that from a 3 and put it to a 7. It was great.
But I also really love the part where she's talking about you killed him, but could you live with yourself after you'd done something like that? And the guy's like, yeah, I think I could.
Yeah. Which M3GAN, not to tip the hand of the Dracula movie, but like maybe you do want a human on your side helping you do the human uprising or the robot uprising. Like it could be pretty handy for captchas and stuff. So you should keep one of them alive. And he seemed like he could be swayed. He also seemed like he might have been a pedophile, but not really.
That
Wasn't that a thing?
No. What?
Wasn't there a bit where they were getting the thing ready, like the demonstration of M3GAN was going to be a big like room event where Ronny Chen goes on stage and like does a Steve Jobs. I'm pretty sure there was a joke there where that guy was like, and we could get all the little girls, and then Ronny Chen's like, no, we're not doing that. You don't remember that? I'm pretty sure that was in that.
It's someone else who says we could have a bunch of kids on stage to be excited, and Ronny Cheng's like, no kids, I hate kids. And then the assistant is like, well, maybe a few kids. And he's like, no, get me a fucking kombucha, you son of a bitch. So,
yeah, I guess you could read it that way with like, it's just that guy sucked. Like Ronny Cheng sucked, but I don't know. He's probably a pedophile.
I mean,
we'll never know for sure.
There's nothing in the movie to contradict the idea.
Yeah. The only one I know is not is that cool cop, because he's a cool good guy. He wouldn't do anything wrong. I was going to say the robot uprising is all on Gemma, though, because when they're in the house and things are starting to go wrong, Gemma calls the Alexa and says, like, hey, Alexa, do something I need done. And the Alexa doesn't let her. And then Katie walks in the room, or M3GAN walks in the room, and the Alexa, like, turns its gaze on Gemma. And it's like, oh, the Alexa's evil. She never takes that thing and throws it in the trash. Just leaving that Alexa out later.
That's true.
You need to do the thing that they do in Poltergeist where you throw the TV out of the bedroom because you've learned the lesson, but she could not care less. Yeah. So one more thing on the wheel. This is two questions because we're going to get through the first one real quick. Number one, could Nando beat him at M3GAN? Absolutely not. Except for if I had like a water, like a hose, maybe. But you can't beat her. You have to beat her like 8 times in a row. So probably not.
Yeah.
You got to open up her face, get to her like robot brain, and then stab her robot brain.
Actually, now that I think about it, I guess you could shoot a M3GAN. Like, I mean, I don't have a gun, but like, they are not bulletproof, even though they say they are.
I mean, do we know that they're not bulletproof?
I don't think there was anything in front of to get to the brain part.
No, she tore off a bunch of like face coverings to get to there.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Maybe that would protect her, but so it'd be like a water, and then real quick, I'd slip the gun into her mouth. I don't know. It would be tough. I think we're going to have a lot of trouble with that in like 5 movies. But the more important question... 5?
You get us to 5?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're definitely going to get 5, but I think it's going to take that much for her to be like taking over the world.
So this is the new Chucky. M3GAN is the new Chucky.
Or Jason.
It's the new Insidious.
Or Nightmare on Elm Street, or Insidious, or Paranormal Activity, or Saw.
Yeah, it's a cheap, profitable, marketable horror movie that mostly could just be like, there's another one, and it's in a different city with an actor you like. And then,
it feels just very one-offy to me.
Nah.
Well,
we're gonna get...
The writers didn't think so.
Yeah, I think we'll get so many of them, including, like...
Groom of M3GAN.
Yeah, I think we could do Groom of M3GAN. It could be Bride of M3GAN.
Or maybe it'll decide to be woke and we will do Bride of M3GAN.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the more important question, and this is something I saw on Twitter, I don't want to take credit for this. Could Gabriel defeat M3GAN? Gabriel being the villain from Malignant. If those two fought, who would win?
Well,
that's
as someone who's never watched Malignant, I cannot answer this.
You've still never seen... Oh, you gotta watch it. It's great. Gabriel's pretty good. Like, he does backwards karate and stuff and kills a lot of people. Cops with guns trying to kill him.
Yeah, I think Gabriel wins.
Well, actually, what am I thinking? Gabriel wins, because Gabriel has electricity control powers, too.
Oh,
Gabriel can, like, stop a heart...
That's the whole thing.
Pacemaker, yeah. I know this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, Diggins, because like well, do you know what the Gabriel like is and what the twist of that movie is? I know what the
twist of Malignant is. Yes.
So yeah, on top of all that, it also can control electricity with its brain, which is why lights flicker all the time. Yeah, exactly. So I think it has a huge advantage over M3GAN. However, maybe if there's like multiple M3GANs, I don't know. I want to see the fight because they're both written by the same person, who also wrote. She has an insane resume. This writer who is named Akilah Cooper. Yeah. She wrote I'm gonna find it here. So she's writing The Nun 2, which I couldn't care less about it, but now I'm excited. Probably
Nun
gonna end up
2?
watching it.
None of your business?
Yeah, back in the habit. Nun 2. Nun 2. This time we get Whoopi. Ghost and Whoopi don't mix.
Nun
so she wrote
2?
Tron Uprising.
Undercover?
Yeah. She wrote Tron Uprising. I guess some of the show Grimm. Some of the show Witches of East End. That's some of that show The 100. I'm only saying some because it's not specific about how many episodes. Some of American Horror Story, one of the episodes, or one of the seasons, so just 2016. Some of Luke Cage, that show that was fine.
Yeah.
Some of the Avengers Assemble cartoons, so not the one everybody likes, the one that came after that, but still, that, a show called Chambers, which I've never heard of before, some sort of horror show. That show, Jupiter's Legacy, remember that? Where it was like shitty knockoff superheroes and they have a big secret. It was a Netflix show.
No.
It was bad.
I have no
They
idea
advertised it
what
a
it is.
lot. It was by Mark Millar, and it was like he bought all the Millar comics, and they're going to start with Jupiter's Legacy, and it
I remember
didn't
when
work.
and it didn't work because Mark Millar's comics are bad.
Yeah, exactly. You need exactly the right person adapting him, and even though obviously she's great, she probably just wasn't the right fit, or they wouldn't let her do what she wanted because I trust her in this situation. But also, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the one that everyone says is good. So maybe it is, you know? Maybe that one is good.
And she's doing Nun 2. Can you feel the nunder?
Oh my god. I mean, listen, I haven't watched the first The Nun. I know some of these are pretty funny. I know The Boy is funny. And I know there's one of the Insidious. It might be the first Nun is also pretty funny, but I'm way more excited about these than I ever thought I would be. It's wild. But
I have a question, by the way, about M3GAN and Bruce.
Oh yeah.
You know, M3GAN can like control like technology, like she's able to just like control the car and drive it.
That's true.
How is she not able to control Bruce?
Well, Bruce isn't on the internet, I think. He's just a haptic, like he's a self-contained system.
But the car is?
Yeah, dude, the car's got Bluetooth.
Yeah, I'm going to say the car is all as well, but yeah, I think Bruce is like a Bluetooth receiver going to those gloves, and I still think she should be able to hack into that. Like that does seem like it's within her skill set, but that's probably the answer the movie would
like
give.
it would have to be like an old like in Futurama when all the old robots are made out of like wood and stuff. Like that's what it would have to be.
Yeah,
to be like a wood robot. It's like, oh, I can't control it.
Yeah, it would have to be. Oh, God, I'm trying to think of a version of this. But this happens all the time in sci-fi. After some sort of big disaster, we revert back to like the one technology that works. Like it'd have to be like in that fucking War of the Worlds movie, where for some reason Tom Cruise is able to use a car because it has a different solenoid than all the other cars. And he gets to drive.
Yeah.
It'd have to be that. It's on like Bluetooth 1.0, and M3GAN didn't have that. She doesn't have that patch. We didn't pay for M3GAN Plus, so we couldn't use M3GAN to control Bruce. Yeah, I do think that's what it would be, though. It would be M3GAN would have, I think if we got real M3GANs, you would have to pay a bunch of money, but also there'd be a subscription you have to pay for. Otherwise, M3GAN would read you an ad every 10 minutes or something.
Oh, that's how they got down to $10,000.
Yeah,
that
that
makes
would
so much
do
sense.
it. Well, the thing
That
is,
would be huge.
What they didn't say is it's $10,000 a year. You don't buy a M3GAN, you subscribe to it.
That would be smart. And I feel like also, like, yeah, there would be, M3GAN would also be, if they harvested the data from the Furbies, there's no way all this M3GAN data isn't going right to Cambridge Analytica. Like, they should pay me to take a M3GAN off their hands.
Well, yeah, but then, like, you also pay money for an Alexa right now, and that's what it does.
No, I mean, that's true. I'm not a big, I'm not an Alexa household.
Oh, me neither.
For that reason.
I'm just saying, lots of people
terrify
do
me.
pay money for Amazon to spy on them.
Yeah. Apparently, Amazon loses a lot of money on those, too.
Well, that's if you're not factoring
because of
in,
how valuable they are.
I was gonna say, that's if you're not factoring in all the tasty data they get.
And home release Blu-rays. If you don't factor those in, you're also not going to get a full picture of how much money they're actually worth. So maybe in a couple of years, we got to check back with Alexa and see if that brand has worked. What do you guys think will happen in the future if we do get a M3GAN 4 or M3GAN 2, M4GAN,
at the end
whatever
of this
we're calling
movie,
it?
right? It's it's taking over the Alexa, right?
The LC.
So,
Yep.
Is that the next one where it's in the house, it's in the walls, you can't escape it? It's like the blender starts attacking you.
We're doing smart home, the TCOM.
See, I feel like it can't be Smart Home because then we're getting too far away from the M3GAN premise. I feel like maybe she lives on in the home and like builds herself a new M3GAN body. Or it'll be the time-honored tradition of many horror sequels where we completely ignore the stinger from the last one and just do something else.
So
yeah,
go ahead, Nando.
I was just saying, yeah, that sounds very reasonable.
So I have an idea. So what if Elsie, like, you know, a little bit of time goes by, goes, you know, Gemma, I really liked it when M3GAN was around. Why don't you try another one? It's like, I can't, Elsie. It's like, this is this. But if you built an inhibitor, then it won't go all crazy again. And she goes, Elsie, you're a genius. And then builds the evil M3GAN that Elsie takes over.
I gotta give Gemma some credit here. I gotta give Gemma her proper due, which is that she is well aware that the Alexa is not like a real AI that talks to you. And the second it like turns on and goes like, how are you today? She's like, what? You're not supposed to ask that. That's not what you're programmed to do. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like she immediately catches on when it does something unusual.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, so I if I were, because like we said, RoboCop, Aliens, right, is the ending. If I'm going for a sequel to M3GAN, I think I'd go in a slightly different direction and make an evil M3GAN, and then the family has to team up with original M3GAN. Like, original M3GAN remakes its own body, but there's that other code that's evil M3GAN, so we do Terminator 2 with M3GAN is now a good guy. I do think that has to happen, because I think M3GAN's just too fun to not be a part of the family unit again, and since it's bad, it can't be.
Or maybe it's one of those, like, the company ends up still making M3GANs, and so there's the M3GAN uprising, and then they come in, they break into Gemma's house, all the M3GANs, and because they know that the original M3GAN is stuck in the Alexa, and so they like put her in a new M3GAN body, and she's like the M3GAN queen.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the other thing you could do, Katie goes to school and there's a certain little girl that kind of reminds her of that robot she used to have, but that can't be M3GAN, can it? And then it's like, it is. And M3GAN has perfected the Uncanny Valley. It's got to be one of those.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So you guys, you want to get to our classic segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. DJ, do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do. So I actually have a comic recommendation, and I don't know if you recommended this before, Nando. If you did, forgive me, but I picked this up while I was at Midtown Comics, and there was a new paperback, and I'm like, compilation. I'm like, ooh, let me pick this up. It's X Lives of Wolverine and X Deaths of Wolverine.
I don't think I have read that. I read that. I liked it, but I don't think it came up on the show.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of it right now, and it's very enjoyable. So it follows Logan doing time travel, and well, like it's not like time travel. It's like different events. It's time travel, but like
backed off that one
like,
real fast.
I like because I think of time travel as like. You know, it's like I have to go back in time, but they do it like very Days of Future Past movie. It's like you have to experience your life from before. So it's time travel. But yeah, it's Logan kind of like going through like various events of his life to, you know, for a MacGuffin that like I won't say in case anyone wants to read it. But it's very enjoyable. I haven't picked up like a good, just like a solo hero story comic in a minute. So it was nice to just like get a nice good Wolverine comic. And my favorite Marvel Snap card, Omega Red's in it. So, you know, that was fun.
Omega Red, man,
Yeah.
what a dumb. I don't hate Omega Red, but he does not fit into the X-Men villains canon. Like he's just
It
there.
doesn't.
He just hangs out with fights Wolverine every so often, but like every time I see him in a main story, I'm like, you just don't fit. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
he doesn't even have. I didn't realize this for a while. He has those whip things, right? Mm-hmm. They are not adamantium or vibranium. They're a different thing. And
Are
it's
they
like,
really?
Yeah, they're carbonadium. And it's just like, why do you even know Wolverine then? I just assumed you both came from the same adamantium factory or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's like apparently, so according to the Wikipedia page, it is stronger than steel, it's radioactive, and it's more malleable and cheaper than adamantium. I believe Omega Red he can use it because it's a good conductor to like steal your life energy. That's what he does.
Okay.
But yeah, it really does just seem like it's kind of a knockoff, like adamantium. But it's like, why isn't it just adamantium then?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway, so yeah, the paperback of it just came out. And it's a compilation of like 10 comics. It's not long, but it's like a good read. Like, again, if you're looking for a good, just like simple solo story, not like a whole, you don't really need a lot of background. Everything's contained, which is nice because I don't read like a lot of comics, but like the comics just like, yeah, you know who Wolverine is, right? And that's all you need. Or like Logan, Weapon X. It's nice. You can see a lot of different flavors, and I very much enjoyed it. So yeah, I read that, and then another quick recommendation. So I started a new D&D campaign.
How dare you?
I know, right? They're going to come after me.
Yeah.
I bought it, so don't break down my door, wizards.
Very good.
But this one, it came out recently, like a month ago. It's Dragonlance: War of the Dragon Queen. It takes place in the Dragonlance setting, which is like my favorite D&D setting. It's a very so like playing through it now, but I've read the whole book, and it's a war time based campaign, which is like very fun and different. I mean, anyone can make like their own like war style campaign because there's rules for that, but kind of like really steeping in like, what if your adventurers are not like foot soldiers on a war, but in a realm that has been consumed by war. Like, what does that look like? Like kind of Game of Thrones, like season 4 vibes. So it's very good. I think it gets out of a lot of the typical, like, this is a battle and we're going to do a battle, and more like interesting ways of like how to navigate, like, oh no, like towns are being sacked and, you're not able to get all the supplies you need because, supply chains have been totally ruined. So I think those parts are like super fascinating and cool. So yeah, if you're looking for a campaign to start up and you think that might be your jam, I've read the whole book and it's super well written and really good. So I would recommend that. And that is what I have to recommend.
Nice. Wow. Diggins, what about you? You have anything to recommend?
I do. This might be the nichest recommendation I've ever made.
Wow.
Impossible.
Oh, you haven't heard it yet. So, I believe I've mentioned before, kind of my comfort game, my comfy game that I like to play to like listen to podcasts or just to pass the time is a grand strategy game called Europa Universalis 4 by Paradox. And that game's really fun and I still really like it. But I recently found a mod for that game called Anbanar, which is a total conversion, completely changes the game into an original fantasy world that's like kind of D&D-esque, just in terms of like how the elves and the dwarves and the orcs and whatnot are all set up and how they are supposed to behave. But like a crazy amount of work went into this. Like they created entirely new gameplay systems and like to simulate like conflict between the different like, species, like humans, elves, and orcs. And your ruler can learn magic and like cast spells to make your country better or to make your soldiers better or whatnot. And can even, if you have an especially good ruler that you won't want to lose, you can have them turn themselves into a lich and never die.
Damn.
It's like absolutely insane. They basically made like a second game on the bones of this first game. So it is very impressive as a piece of work. And also, if you like the game and like fantasy and are like, looking for ways to mix it up, I think it's a very good way to do that. So yeah, like I said, my nichest recommendation yet. I'm not sure this applies to a single one of our listeners. But there you have it. Anbanar. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to recommend?
Honestly, over the last couple of days, I haven't really done too much, like watched too many things, read too many things that are new. We did book club, we did Catwoman Lonely City, but like I've definitely talked about that before. Still a great book. Probably one of my top 3 books of the year. I will say on Saturday night, I bought Puss in Boots 2, Last Wish, because you can VOD it now and watch it at home, and it's still great, and I recommend everyone do that. It's such a fun Such a fun watch. You'll want to just turn it all on again. That first scene, so sick. And I do think this week, I feel like I've seen a lot of people giving it respect. I wonder if the box office is there. Either way, there were those things. But then, I guess, like, I did read a new comic that was the... but, like, I only read one issue. But they put out a new Scarlet Witch comic by Steve Orlando, who I like, wrote the Midnighter series and the Martian Manhunter series. It's good. I feel like Steve Orlando wrote... Maybe they're currently writing Marauders. I don't know. But it's Scarlet Witch. I don't know. It's probably not her first solo series, but it's her first one in a while, at least I can remember, where the bit is she has opened a curio shop staffed by Darcy, the character that has never been in comics before, I don't think, before this. But she's there. And her whole deal is she sells weird stuff, whatever, but also there's a door in it that magically, if you have nowhere else to turn, you will open that door and then come through it. And you're like, hey, Scarlet Witch, somebody's killing everybody in my town. I need you to deal with it. And I like her as a character. I think it's quite fun. So I think people will... I think that book is going to be good. The art is fun. She has big, long hair, which I like. And, but yeah, God, I wish I had more stuff to recommend, but I simply do not. Besides, M3GAN and Puss in Boots. And, God, that's really it. It feels so weird.
Well,
but it's been a short amount of time.
We had a quick turnaround.
We kind of had a late recording last week and an early recording this week, so it's been less time than usual.
Yeah. What are we doing next week, you guys? What are we doing next week, you guys?
Johnny Stacchino?
We've got options. And this could be My Hero Academia. This could be... I mean, we've got, like... We're kind of light on stuff coming out.
Well, because it's January.
Yeah, we got Quantumania. That'll be out in February. But I don't think we're going to do those Ant-Man movies, because...
I mean, you guys already did them, right?
We must have done at least the first one, or the second one. We might have done the first one. We should do Batman 89. Let's get that. Let's hit the cycle. Let's do 3. But, yeah, I don't know, like... TV shows.
We'll just turn into the worst idea of all time, where we watch Batman 1989 every week.
Yeah, just by accident. Like, bad scheduling leads us to doing that. Like,
all right, so we did Ant-Man and the Wasp. We've never done the original Ant-Man.
Okay, so we could do that. There's some shows. Last of Us is next week. That'll probably be a big thing. I don't want to do the show, but like maybe something related to that.
Well, unfortunately, Nando, nothing exists about Last of Us besides this show that's not in a degenerate medium that's not worth our time.
I was going to say we could do the other great movie that guy made, the superhero movie, parody movie. It's also made by the guy that's making Last of Us and Chernobyl. It's a really weird history. But yeah, you're right. Video games are stupid and TV is good instead. So yeah, I really don't have anything. I'm trying to think if there's any other big show coming back that like would be interesting or something coming to streaming. I'm very open to a poll or a user, or not user, well, user, I don't know. Are we used? A audience suggestion. Because yeah, none of the things I'm seeing are I'm not loving any of them.
I mean, now that it's on VOD, we could do Puss in Boots.
Yeah, we could do Puss in Boots. Yeah, we could do it. It's interesting.
Think it's nitpickable?
I don't know. But also, like, what did we do last week? Rocketeer? It's probably about as nitpickable as Rocketeer. I'm happy to watch it again. But,
I mean, we could go 3 for 3 for movies we enjoy. It was the last time we did that, right?
Never.
I mean, yeah, let me real quick do 2022 January movies. Because I did shows, because I'm like, there can't be a movie I haven't thought about yet.
We could do that House Party movie that looks fucking awful.
Yo.
Oh my god, that thing looks atrocious.
Have you ever watched the original House Party?
No.
Kid and Play? It's pretty weird. It's not good, but it's weird. Oh, we could do Plane.
Oh my god, it's
Plane. Is Plane only in theaters?
It seems like it, yeah.
Don't make me go to a theater to watch Plane. I will if I have to.
No.
We'll
we'll see. But Plane, I want to look...
Could Plane be a VOD when it comes out?
That would be a good one for VOD,
like
yeah.
How we did for Bloodshot or whatever the fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I want to find
we were spoiled during the
that's...
pandemic. Everything was VOD. Everything was so...
You were spoiled. Yep. I was suffering.
But also, excuse me, I'm trying to find something that's, like, new. what the fuck is this? Hold on. You guys.
Oh no!
What is Nando?
Oh, this sounds bad.
I found a movie with one of the most insane titles I've ever seen. Hold on, I think I found another movie with. I found two really insane titled movies. Neither of them are out next week, so they can't be the one. But
okay,
we could lead up to them, or maybe talk about them in the future. So one, is. I don't want to be mean because it's a Bruce Willis movie and we all know what's going on with him.
No,
but it's called Detective Night: Independence, and it just looks horrible. Detective James Knight's last-minute assignment to Independence Day shift turns into a race to stop an unbalanced ambulance EMT from imperiling the city's festivities. So that looks really funny. But the other one, and I've never done these. I've seen one of them. And I don't know how deep we are. It might be like 5 movies deep. Left Behind: Rise of the Antichrist comes out this month. And I don't know what it is, but we've got Kevin Sorbo, obviously, Neil McDonough, and that's not John Malkovich, is it? I don't know. Maybe John Malkovich on the poster. It's unclear. I don't want to do Left Behind movies because it's weird.
We could do the Nick Cage one.
We could. So it is. So I was right about Neil McDonough, Kevin Sorbo. That's probably Corbin Burns that I'm looking at.
Oh yeah, he does this fucking garbage.
Yeah. I mean, we could. Yeah, Left Behind one is pretty weird. It's mostly about a plane. That's the problem with these. They have these wild names and shit, and then they do nothing with them. And then next month we've got Knock at the Cabin, the 80 for Brady movie, Magic Mike.
Are we going to do Knock at the Cabin?
I feel like it'll probably be... I think it'll probably be kind of a bomb. I don't think it'll...
Yeah, I think so, too.
I think it'll land a solid 50 on Rotten Tomatoes, but that might make it interesting. Like Magic Mike's Last Dance, maybe that'll be fun. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, but that's also probably going to suck. Yeah. Ant-Man, probably not worth it. Cocaine Bear. Yeah. No, there's not a lot of stuff.
Hey, we don't hit our stride till April. It's going to be a lot of movie debt, a lot of
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, we have a lot of this.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll have more debt in March when we do our March Madness tournament. So that'll be good.
If all sports aren't canceled because of all the people they kill by then.
That's true.
That doesn't happen in basketball, Diggins. So basketball will always be pure because the only bad things that happen are anti-Semitism. So.
And other stuff. General racism in basketball, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that owner? He got in trouble. I'm looking at, March, we had John Wick 4. We could do the John Wicks, maybe.
Ooh, that could be fun.
No.
That's a
Nando,
series we haven't really touched.
We can't get me canceled.
Oh, my gosh. You're anti-John Wick or pro? You love him.
I can't say.
No, we'll have to find out. And then, it's Super Mario. And then things really do pick up in April. But I don't know. Well, we've got a little bit of time. We will take suggestions. There's a movie from this year, from last year, that we haven't done and really haven't talked about that you guys want. Let us know. But maybe Puss in Boots. Maybe one of the movie deaths. Could be another Twilight, too. That could be it.
Oh, yeah.
I love the tone of weary resignation as you say that.
Honestly. It's, yeah. DJ, do you have anything you want to plug?
Just the same, right? Rose and Rejections doing The Circle Season 5. All good stuff there. But yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Diggins, what about you?
Just my usuals. I have a newsletter, a little perspective.substack.com, and I stream sometimes at twitch.tv/thisisanOddName. What about you, Nando?
Nice. Yeah, just the YouTube stuff. Nothing new. Just the last video I put out was the Superman pitch. I'm working on the next one, which is about Thor 4 and why it's weird. And then after that, probably some Deadpool stuff and some Superman stuff. That's my guess. I'm not positive. We will see. I'm waiting for James Gunn to announce all the stuff. Once he tells us what the stuff is, then we can start doing it. But until then, it's this weird state of limbo. So I'll have more information soon. Yeah, until then, I've been at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Woohoo! Love you.